All right, well, I think everything's on. But, bro, I'd like to start the conversation by saying, welcome to the Doxcast.
Thanks for having me.
Beautiful.
Stoked to be here.
Yeah, good. You've made a bit of an effort, boys. Shout out to Mick off camera for organising this episode as well. Really appreciate that. But, yeah, big effort, so thank you.
Nah, stoked to be here. It's exciting stuff. I've been watching the podcast a little bit, so, yeah, stoked to be on.
Legend. All right, well, the stuff that I know that we can talk about and get into is your plan and your involvement in mental health, and you're curious and interested in all that as well. But I love to get to know people before they are doing their current path, you know what I mean? A bit about yourself. I want to know where you grew up, how old are you, just a couple of intro, things like that.
Yeah. So my name's Josh. Just recently turned 30 years old, and I grew up in Newcastle, New South Wales. So Belmont, born and bred. Pretty much lived there my whole life, and it is God's country.
God's country.
Wouldn't want to live anywhere else. So.
Mad. Yeah, that's sick. All right. And so you just turned 30 years old. That's cool. You're a little bit older than me. A bit more wisdom. I bet comes with that as well.
I mean, I'm still fumbling through, to be honest. But just learning every day, and that's how I want to be. I want to continue to be my whole life. Is just learning. The person that knows it all really actually knows shit fuck all. So, that's the honest truth. So.
Yeah, bro. I always figure out that I know nothing, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
If I think I know something, like a year later, I look back and think, I knew nothing, bro. Especially like becoming a teenager, early adult, I'm like, bro, I know everything. I know better than my parents, bro. I know better than my teachers, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, we know nothing, bro.
It's all your perspective at the time. And if you run with your perspective and don't challenge it, then you will get that mindset that I know I've done that, I know this, and then you get to another stage and you really realise you don't know shit fuck all.
It's crazy. All right, well, I want to try and fill a bit of a gap in timeline as well, because you mentioned to me off camera a bit, child protective services, stuff like that as well. So I'm keen to get into that, but what's your kind of focus been up until now? What has you kind of put your mind towards doing, like maybe career-wise and anything like that?
Yeah. So I guess through my younger years, up until I was about 19, I sort of was fumbling through jobs, didn't really have, was a bit of a party boy, didn't really sustain a job for more than 6 months, and didn't really know what I wanted to do. I started youth work at 19. And it was sort of a job filler at the time. I was like, this is sick, like this is awesome, hanging out with kids, just the skate park, hanging out, just being a role model. And then I just fell in love with the job. And I've pretty much the last 12 years, it's all I've done.
Damn.
I got out for a little bit because I was doing some NDIS work. And although I love supporting people, I fell out of love with, I guess, the policies and procedures and the politics that come along with the NDIS.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rainbows and pixie dust that come with it. And I do a lot of like psychosocial, so a lot of sort of, I guess, low demographic sort of support work with guys that have come from, similar to myself, started drugs at a young age, have sort of kicked around in sort of housing flats and stuff like that. I never grew up in a housing flat, but I sort of, when I was lost through my 14, 15, 16-year-old years, I was hanging around a lot of people that was just as lost as I was, and in some environments that weren't particularly safe, you would say, for a 14, 15-year-old. And then it got to about 19 and someone mentioned to me, like, you should do this, you should get into youth work. And I fell in love with it. It was awesome. It was really soul-fulfilling. I haven't really looked back. I mean, I got out of it for a little bit, for a year. I went into mining.
You went to mining? That's crazy.
It's probably the worst industry to go to. I was like, this will be all right. And you're sitting in a truck, and it's almost like driving from, we were in the Hunter Valley, so driving from the Hunter Valley to like, I don't know, the Sunshine Coast every day. So you were flogged. By the time you got home, you were like fucking listening to cunts whinging on the radio all the time, and then you got a two-way with the boys in the other trucks. And everyone's unhappy out there, man. Third, fourth marriage. They call it the golden handcuffs because you get out there and you're like, I'm working so much. I'm so unhappy out there that you buy the brand new Land Cruiser or whatever it may be, the jet ski, the bike, the Harley, whatever. And then it's all on finance. So you're stuck to that coin. You're like, I hate it, but I can't get out.
Yeah, the golden handcuffs. What a mad metaphor for it too, bro. I feel like most people are stuck in handcuffs in general anyway.
Yeah. Well,
most people aren't doing things they want to be doing, bro. Something like youth work, that sounds sick. I always wanted to do it, to be honest, growing up. It was something I was definitely interested in. So I'm curious as well. Like, did you have any siblings growing up? Or like anything like that?
Yeah. So, and it probably part of my story as well. I got 2 older brothers, and I wasn't exactly planned by my parents. So, the eldest is 14 years apart, and then 8 years between me and my middle.
Wow.
But me and the eldest are eons apart, generations. You would think that he's 2 decades older than me. Really, he's close to. We are 2 complete. He's a bit of the golden boy, and I was the black sheep, and I did it well too. I realised that early on, about 15, 16. I said, well, I've got it, and I'm going to run with it, and I'm going to do it well. You've got to be good at something, and this is my niche.
Nice. Yeah, that's sick. And how do you even fall into something like youth work in the first place, you know? Like, I remember growing up, I always found a calling towards youth workers and things like that in general, being a kid. And to be honest, I always found influenced by older lads in sometimes good things, sometimes bad things. It doesn't matter if it was a fight trainer, if it was, you know, mates' brothers I was hanging around, whatever it might have been. And then, you know, going through things like church and all these other scenarios, there was always older lads wanting to be around younger lads for whatever reason, good or bad. And I remember thinking to myself, like, fuck, these cunts have a pretty cool gig, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
and honestly, some days, like in the early days especially, I was like, fuck, I'm getting paid for this. Like, this is pretty good. Then you have other days and you have some serious incidents and you see some really traumatic sort of scenarios. But I guess to me, someone put it on to me. I was, as I was saying, going through jobs and wasn't really sticking to anything. And I had this job search provider that was helping me. So I was diagnosed with ADHD really young through primary school. And my parents were sort of against it. They didn't like the label and stuff like that. But like a lot of kids or most people that have ADHD, their report cards always read easily distracted and distract others. So I wore that and I was the pin child for that. But with my ADHD, I struggled with the emotional regulation, and with that came aggression. So I was a bit of a fighter per se. Like I could never fight, but it was always the anger was just there. So outburst, and then it just was on. So the school really pushed for me to get diagnosed, and the old boy did it proper. He sent me down to Sydney Developmental Clinic. They had did this like almost a sleep study, put like things on my head to check the brain waves and how everything, and then put me through like assessments, mathematics, this, that. They come back and they're like, I walked in the room like, I was pinned on my elbow, and they're like, ODD, OCD, ADHD, ADD, and they just went, and he's a serious case. Oh, wow. And I was like, all right. So I tried medication for a little bit, maybe like, I want to say maybe 3 months at max, and I hated it. And with Ritalin, it's pretty much speed, man. I felt like I was uncomfortable in my skin, like I was sweating, every 20 minutes, I feel like I need a shower. Like I just didn't feel good.
and how old were you around that age?
I would have been, I want to say, around 10 or 11.
Oh, wow.
So I'd struggled, and it was pretty significant enough that they sent me that. So up until 10, maybe from 6, 7, those years to 10, were pretty bad at school. Bad enough that they were spending decent money to, let's go make sure we do this right.
Yeah.
So yeah, just got diagnosed and stuff, and still struggled right the way through. Had a bit of a name for myself in my area, I guess. At my primary school, and mum and dad tried to do this thing where they like sent me to a private school, and we're not a religious family by any means. So they sent me there, and I reckon I would have had term 1. It was like year 7 was like $2.5K per term. Oh, it was like mum and dad are forking out for it. And they weren't really in a position to pay for that sort of thing at the time, but they thought, fuck, we just got to try something here. I don't know if they thought I was going to find God, or I don't know. Anyway, so I went and did that, and I lasted a term and a half, and I would have had about 6 different punch-ons, school suspensions, and they pretty much said, we can't have him. Like, you're going to have to like send him to a behavioural school or something. So that happened, and they dropped me back into the public school system, into the local high school, and it was just on. It was punch-ons. It was like I had that sort of reputation a little bit. And I was just a young, cheeky little cunt. Like, blabber me gums, but also didn't know how to... Got plenty of floggings. Like, especially, it was a bit of a novelty, like the older boys, year 7, I was punching my boys in 10, 11, 12. And they were... I copped floggings, man, but I just didn't know how to take a backward step.
Yeah.
And it sort of affected me as it went on. Like, this probably went on for like... I was maybe there for 3 terms. sort of went on for a little while, and it sort of become a novelty. It was like the quad boys and the cola boys, and I always started the quad. But people would egg it on and be like, fucking, who's fighting? My last name's Ramadge, and that's what everyone knows me by. They'd be like, who's fighting Ramadge? Let's G'd up, first break, this, that.
That's actually fucking wild.
And I'd be punching on every day. Like, I had this one, he was like a metalwork teacher, and he come up to me one day, and this was going on for like a term and a half. He's like, look, listen, I had your brother at this school, and he was a shithead as well, but said there's just people in life that you wouldn't piss on if there was a fire, but you can't retaliate. You need to learn to control your anger. And that sort of stuck with me for a while. Like, and I still think of that teacher all the time, but just him sitting down there, no bullshit, just 13-year-olds with a middle-aged man as a school teacher, and said, look, you need to get yourself sorted, and just got on a level sort of how I feel I do in my youth work. It's just like a bit of a knockabout talk. Just, look, I wouldn't piss on half the people here, but you're going to not like people, but you got to learn just, if people give you shit, just cop it and walk away. Like, so that sort of stuck with me a bit. But
that's a nice thing for someone like who doesn't need to say something like that to someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it went out of his way. Like, and I was a real problem for this school. Like, they were like, what are we going to do with this kid? Like, at the quad at lunchtime, we've got 150, 200 kids lining up, just like, fucking fight. So it was a real problem. They were like, fuck, we had his older brother come through here for a few years. We thought we were done with this. Another one. So looking back, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But it sort of affected me a bit because I'd go home and I was living in fight or flight. I was like, I didn't know how to back out now. I didn't know how to like just bow down. And I'd go and like, fuck, who am I going to have to fight tomorrow? Who am I going to have to sort of, what's going to happen? I'd play out my day. And if this happens, if I get back behind a wall, I'd almost shadow box in my room, like just trying to work out.
Wow.
So it affected my anxiety heaps, especially in those developmental years. So anyway, it went on for like 3 terms there, and I ended up trying to almost stab this kid. And he was a year 12 student. I was in year 7. And they were like, we were done. He's expelled. Like, no questions asked. And fair enough. That's sort of next level. But I felt like I was in fight or flight. I was like, fuck, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, I'm fighting boys like 4 or 5 years older than me. I'm 13. These boys are almost adults.
Wow.
So,
were you a big kid? Because you're a fucking big bloke today.
well, no, I wasn't. I was a fat kid through primary school. But yeah, no, like that's probably where it started. I didn't like getting bullied. I was a little tubby kid, and I was probably a bit big boned for my age at that stage. And it started with like the nickering and stuff like that about my weight, and with the aggression, I just sort of was a bit of a snapper, a bit of a clicker. But yeah, no, people just cottoned on to this. If we push this cunt hard enough, we'll get like some entertainment out of him. So yeah, so I got expelled from that school, and then mum and dad sent me to a behavioural school. So there was like 7 kids in this school, all probably from low socioeconomic housing, had a lot of traumas and stuff like that. So it was an experience, and like I come from a good family. Like I don't have no bullshit. Like didn't have a hard upbringing. My parents did everything for me, and they still do that. I had a really good home. I was just a shit of a kid that didn't know how to handle his emotion, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they sent me to school, 7 kids. Now I look back at this to this day, and I was just telling someone the other day. So of the 7 kids, so I'm one of 7. So there's 6 of them in there. 3 of them are doing life sentences for murder.
Wow.
2 of them are dead. One was shot dead by the police after an incident. And then another one's doing quite a serious lagging for manslaughter. So there's only 2 kids. So that odds were stacked against me heavily. So I think there's only 2 of us, and one of the other it was a chick. The other one was a chick. So yeah. So the odds were definitely stacked against, and I think about that all the time, especially how it's unravelled over the years with these people having incidences where they've committed a heinous crime like murder, or they just never found their way out. And it humbles me. I'm like, wow, like this could have gone a very different route. Really grateful that it did, but it's almost like a butterfly effect. If one thing had happened differently, then that could have been me, 100%. And I don't know the specific circumstances with some of these cases and stuff like that, but whether drugs were in, they weren't, who they actually were as a person or whatever it may be, you just never know. And you look back at people's childhoods, and I know that a lot now working in youth work, and it sort of made me do a lot of retrospective work for myself, that people's upbringings really affect how they are as an adult and how they emotionally regulate themselves.
Well, your role models and your bless you.
Thanks, Michael.
Your role models and your influences, especially coming from parents, are literally what makes people who they are. You know, like I guess if some people don't come from good households, they can still make it out, but they have to have someone to influence them to be better in the first place. You know,
That's right. Yeah,
and that's why someone like a youth worker or a teacher sitting you down as a 13-year-old kid or however old you were and telling you they don't need to. They're doing it for your best interest. Like maybe some of these people didn't have the best people in their lives. Maybe they didn't have the best influences and role models. And even if they did, it might not have been someone they could relate to enough. You know, that's the other biggest important as well. Relatability.
Absolutely, man.
So do you feel like you had many people that were a good role model and you could relate to?
Yeah, absolutely. Like my middle brother, we're pretty close, and he was a good role model. He was sort of, when I was that age, going through his 18, 19, 20, and he definitely, we had mad parties at our house and it was the hangout spot, and he was running amok and like having tussles with the old boy and shit, smoking pot and doing all that sort of shit and bringing it in the house. I always like, I don't know, I try to one-up him a little bit as I got to that age. I did the same thing but worse. But no, I had it all around me. I just didn't know how to handle my emotion. And my parents have been awesome, but I just couldn't at that stage sort of relate to them. And people that I sort of was hanging around with as I went through the schooling system, and after that behavioural school, I ended up leaving the system completely at, I would have been nearly 13. So I finished school at 13. And then they tried to homeschool me a little bit, but I was just like, I've done no schooling. All through primary school, I was on in-school suspension, sitting out the front of the principal's office. I don't know how to like learn properly. And I can't mix with, or I can't concentrate. Like I'm having 3,033 thoughts a second. So yeah, I guess, and it wasn't until the role models that I chose were people that were as lost as I am, if not more. And being that they were at different times, maturity wise, I started hanging out with boys that I would have been 13, 14, hanging out with boys that are 18 to 25. And involved in serious crime, started out just like smoking pot and stuff like that. Then went sort of into like breaking enters, armed robberies, I guess heavier drugs for sure, whether it started with ecstasy and stuff like that, and then it sort of turned to the gas. Before meth was like smokable meth was a big thing, was gas. And then I guess it went on to the methamphetamine sort of side of things. Escalated really quick until I was like 16. Like I was doing some pretty heavy stuff for a 13, 14, 15-year-old.
Yeah, that's fucking crazy for a full-grown adult, bro, let alone a fucking teenager on a year. So
just the people I was hanging around with, seen a lot of stuff, a lot of violence and stuff I shouldn't have probably been exposed to. And yeah, shaped me a little bit, scared the fuck out of me. Like, especially because I didn't grow up around that. Like, but I could relate with people that were going through it. I was like, I'm the misfit as well. Like I don't fit in anywhere, and I know you feel the same. So let's hang. And yeah, I sort of fell down into that sort of trap and got involved in a little bit of crime and stuff like that. Nothing too hectic, but definitely seen some stuff committed by other people that I look back now and like you sort of black it out because you're at that age. It's sort of like put it at the back of your mind. And then ever since I've started doing this, I'm doing more retrospective work on myself. That comes to light, and you're like, wow, like that's pretty. And then I look at my nieces and stuff. I'm like, I've got a niece that's 15, 16 at the moment, or 16. She's over in America, like by herself with a dance academy doing all this stuff. Like parents are at home, she's in another country. I was like, at 16, I was like sitting around smoking bongs, like we were getting like hotties, stealing cars, just like raiding shops and just doing stupid shit. Wouldn't trade it. Like I learned a lot of shit and maybe the person I am today, but I look at them and I was like, well, I'd done a lot of drugs by the time I was your age.
Dude, it's crazy, bro.
And she's not that she's sheltered. She's a very smart girl. And we sort of relate a little bit because she's got ADHD and struggles with the schooling side of things. But just her, I guess she's got a lot of support. And I had a lot of support as well, but I guess
you can see the differences in personalities,
absolutely,
definitely in the exposure. Like I had a lad come over maybe like 4 weeks ago or something like that. His name's Skivs. I reached out to him online doing content, and he was telling me he has a 13-year-old daughter now, and he had her when he was like 19 or something, like 17, around that age.
Yep.
And he's like telling me about how he lived his life at 13. Juvie and boys' homes and all this crime and that. And he's like, bro, I've got a 13-year-old daughter. Like, it's nothing like that.
It's
like,
so
different lives.
And even my brother didn't get into it as young as I did, but we sit there and go, fuck, do you remember what we were doing at that age? Like, he goes, please, like, it's crazy. And it's good. It is good. Like, I really, as I said, she's over in America at the moment, living her best life, doing this dance academy. She'll go far with it. Like, they sent me a group chat the other day. They got a photo of Jake Gyllenhaal and shit, and I was like, "That's living." Cool. Like, I was seeing trap houses and I was seeing people get toolbox in garages and teeth knocked out. Watching people overdose and stuff. I'm like, that's not living. But for her, I'm stoked. I'm like,
Well, you can't trade it, bro. I'm glad that you have that perspective that you wouldn't trade it, because I find a lot of comfort and gratitude in the positive role models I had in my life, and there was definitely periods where I was fallen off the wagon, to say the least, to be honest with you. But I always had someone, like, say I had a fight trainer. We met this lad at the park. I've told this story on the podcast before. We met a lad when we were like 12. We'd all just punch on at the park. That's how we spent our time. And this guy was walking past, this full-grown adult, and he's like, what are you doing? And we said, fighting. And he goes, well, you just don't know how to. Would you like me to show you how? Anyway, he ran us through some drills and some combos and shit like that, and explained to us how he spent his whole life training. He'd train us once a week for years on a Wednesday. And if we told him we got on a fight outside of being in training, he would fuck the shit out of us, bro. He would hurt us, bro. He'd expose us to the real... We'd get punished, bro, for using what we learnt, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and I just had a couple people like that along the way that... And I had another fight trainer at the time too, and he was cool for me as a kid because he was in all the rap videos with, you know, Cursor and all this shit as well. So he was like involved in illegal activity, and he was basically telling us all the cool shit he got to do as a teenager, but then told us how much time he spent in jail. You know, and then he really painted us a big picture as kids, you know, and we thought, fuck, all right, maybe like we should be careful a little bit, you know. So
sort of show you the label and then open it up, oh, can of worms, don't get involved, sort of thing, like temptation, right? Dabble as you will. And I say that to, like, especially younger boys that we're sort of involved in at the moment. I'm like, it's all good to party and that, but you just need to be checking in with yourself. And it is a rabbit hole. Like, you will get involved and you'll fall in love with the party scene, and whether it be girls, and then you sort of, once you're on the party scene, you might be starting to slang some pills or make some money doing it, and then you fall in love with shiny things, and then you don't know, similar to the golden handcuffs, you don't know how to get out of it. But
I think it's almost inevitable. I've got to be real. Like, I think it's... I'm not saying 100%. Every statistic has its outliers, but it's like, if you are going to be taking drugs, there's going to be a time when you've got more than you've got for yourself that you need. Someone else needs some. You're going to sell it at least once. And the chances of that leading to 2, 3, 4, 5, unlimited,
it's
like, well, it's inevitable.
It first starts with you get enough that it's cheap enough. And you go, sweet, I'll sort the boys out, and then, like, it's a bit cheaper for me because I've got a bigger amount. And then it starts to get bigger.
And then the boys.
I've got this bloke, and you're on the buzzer. It's just, it's a can of worms. And
so how'd you go from that kind of lifestyle and routine into a position now where you're youth leading in a way, or at least spending time as a youth worker? Like, how did that transition unfold?
So I guess I had a little bit.
Because you have to admit, that's a big that's a big leap, you know.
Well, boys around me, same age. Sort of, I was hanging out with the older boys, and then as my age group caught up to that, 16, 17, and started doing the crime and stuff like that, boys were getting pinched, and fuck, it was a bit of a wake up call. I was like, fuck, I don't want to be like that. And I mean, like, I got out of it for a while, and then we started partying, and it was really, once you turn 18, it was really sort of low key. It wasn't too bad, but once we started 17, 18, going out, and then the pills, the ecstasy, and then, like we were saying, you sort of you start to get some, and then you get more than you need, and then you're selling it, and before you know it, you're the guy that's got the pills. So I did a lot of heavy dealing through 18, 19. So much so that I guess word sort of got around. I didn't bring anyone around that I feel like would do me over or anything like that, but just people talk and stuff like that. And there was a period there where I was living back with my parents, and we were going to Future Music Festival. So we're down there, and I think it was like a 2-day. I think it was like a 2-day festival then. It might have been Stereosonic. So we're down there on the Friday night, partying. We'd been out in the cross and stuff. Come back to the festivals next day, and I'm getting a phone call at like 4 a.m. off my old girl. I'm like, oh, we're still kicking on. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can answer this. Ring it, answer it, and he goes, where's all your shit? And I said, why? She said, fucking house has been robbed. My cars are all gone. Handbags gone. They've gone through the house with golf clubs. Like,
no
fuck.
way.
I said, there's shit here that is like, she goes, is there a safe? And I said, at that stage I didn't have one. I said, no, there's no safe. She goes, well, they're taking fucking photos. All the photos are taken off the walls and shit. I go, all this stuff here, there, and there. She went and looked and said, fucking all gone. It was like, it wasn't massive. It was like 5,000 pills and like around $25,000.
That's still fucking.
Well, for me, I always
still a fucking big hit.
I always didn't want to fuck myself over, and I always just made sure I was in credit. I had purchases up front, sort of thing, because I just didn't want to fuck any kind of over, and I was not in it to do that anyway. But yeah, so that sort of happened, and come home, and like the parents had a big talk to me. Their cars got stolen, their Audi, BMW, everything.
Wow, that's red hot as, bro.
It was a big wake up for me because I was like, fuck, this is my family. Like, what have I fucking done? Like, you piece of shit. And sort of got away from it. And that's when I met this guy through this job search place. And he's like, I guess I was well-spoken 19-year-old. Like, I come from a good family. I'm the black sheep. Everyone's kind of got, like, I got an uncle that's a professor in mathematical engineering at Princeton University in America. And then another one that was he's an editor-in-chief of Fairfax, a really big paper down in Melbourne at the time. And Dad was an executive of a worldwide company. So I sort of looked up to them and I was like, I'll never be like, I don't know, like, it kind of got me down. It's probably kept my addiction going a little bit because I was like, fuck, I've got no purse, I've got no education. What am I going to do? I fit in here. I just turned into the party guy. I was like the guy that's pushed it too far, but everyone was like, I loved it. So,
yeah.
And I sort of wore that because that's probably the storyline throughout, especially with the fighting and stuff, is like people knew me for it and I did it well, I guess. So they were like, I just ran with it. I was like, fuck, you got to be good at something. Like, so yeah. And then this guy said, look, I used to work at this place and it's a big provider in Newcastle. You'd be really good at like just mentoring youth and stuff like that. I said, look, I heard about this bloke working there. Like, I'd be heaps interested. How do I go about it and whatnot? So I worked there for a while, and that was sort of my intro to it. This particular company is not a great one. I think a lot of people in Newcastle have given it a go, and they're like, you either like it, you love it, or hate it.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of politics and stuff there, and they're a really big provider now. But they gave me my insight into youth work, and that's something I can't knock them back on. Like, I found a job that I've got purpose and I love. So yeah.
And what's the insight kind of look like? So, because I'm not too familiar, all my youth worker exposures came from like going down to the community youth centres and spending a lot of childhood around there. Or,
yep.
So, as I said, something involved with the church. I went to church for maybe 2 years of my teenage years, and I went to the youth groups, which was every Friday night, things like that. So they're the kind of familiarities I have, but I'm not sure what kind of organisations there are around youth work. So how does it kind of work?
So basically my intro to youth work was they were living in residential. So a lot of them were ward of the state. So either removed from parents because of drug addiction, abuse, traumatic experiences, and it just wasn't fit that they stay with the parents. They really try and rekindle that relationship, and there's a lot of services, which is really good, to try and get that happening properly. A lot of services to get parents off drugs and that sort of thing. But sometimes, addiction, not everyone makes it out, and that's the truth about it. And it's the poor kids that are involved that they've got no chance, sort of thing. So they come into a residential setting, and basically they just have youth workers that work there 24 hours of the day, 7 days a week. Mm-hmm. Still go to school and stuff as much as possible, obviously, depending on when they come into the system and what sort of traumas happen in their life. Hopefully they can live a normal, I say normal, but you can still go to school, still do sporting events, and you as a youth worker living with them, like you're doing homework, cleaning the house, cooking dinners, showing them how to be a functioning human and learning new skills and building capacity to be a functioning adult once they do transition out. So yeah, they're basically put in houses. Someone will sleep there overnight. Usually it's 2 shifts. So someone will do the day shift and then there'll be a sleepover. And you're just doing everything a parent would do, essentially.
That's sick. And what was your experience in the beginning? Was it living in one of these houses, like with a bunch of like utes as well? So,
yep.
And then like sorry, there's a fucking annoying fly in front
That's
of me.
right,
I'm
get
trying
it.
to get
It'd be throwing you off.
What was this kind of place that you were staying at? Was it like boys only, maybe teenagers or kids, or what was your first time working?
So this particular setting wasn't like a boys' home per se. It was just like one of the first guys I started with was a 1-on-1. And sometimes they will put 2 in a house. Just depends on the traumas and the dynamic of it. They'll match it so it works perfect. So every scenario is different. For this company, I maybe worked across, I want to say at least 35 houses.
Wow.
Some really cruisy, like because the kids are coming early and they've just adjusted well. Some really bad where like windscreens are getting smashed. You're like trying to keep this kid from clocking you. Knives being pulled. You see all sorts. And the thing with the youth is, and especially when they've been removed from traumatic experiences, they've lost their parents or whatever, the kid always feels like you took me away from my parents because they're not young enough to realise why. So it can be difficult in building that rapport, and you will have like that many incidents where I think I went through like 2 windscreens at least when I was working at this company. But you hear other stories, people getting stabbed and stuff like that. It's just, and they're street kids too. Like they've been living down the flats, they've been around it, they watched their mum and dad slang, overdose on heroin, people running through houses. They've seen it all. So they're like, they'll come up and go, they'll front yard. and like I sort of like that because they hold their own, but I'm like, let's redirect that a little bit. It's all right. I want to take you out of your head right now because I know what it feels like to be fight or flight risk sort of mentality. So I want to help you feel comfortable because I can see why that behaviour is there.
You probably resonated a lot with it, eh? You seeing these kids that are ready to scrap, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. And I just feel like they're backed against the wall. And I guess for me as well, like sharing a bit of my story and starting youth work so young is that I would see these scenarios where it was just so intense. And I was like, nothing I ever went through compares to that. But the thing with mental health and those developmental years is it's all relative to you. Like something you hear about, this bloke went through that and he's struggling in his adult years with it. And you go, well, I don't think that's that bad. I've seen worse, but it's all relative to that person. So it affects everyone different and you just can't judge. I just know the feeling of when someone expresses that, I can empathize and I know the feeling of the anxiety and not fitting in or where their head would be going. And I always catch people in a group setting, like if they're, especially in a social setting, if they're like sort of doing stuff with their hands, I can feel they're uncomfortable. I gravitate to that person. I'm like, hey man, what's going on? Like I just try and bring them out of their head a bit. I've always found that I sort of scan a room and I find that person, I gravitate to them. I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like just try and, because I've been that person, like especially through my party years and trying to be sober and go out, I had to flog myself sometimes just because I was like so socially awkward or anxious that I would just 10 pills, fucking all the drinks just to get on a level where I was like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But I could also by that stage couldn't fucking talk.
Yeah.
But
I think that's so common, dude. Like I kind of felt like I might have been the only person that ever experienced that. I was looking around at everyone consuming anything. It didn't matter if it was drugs or alcohol, whatever it was. And I thought everyone's having a good time now, but I kind of felt like I had to catch up to whatever good feeling they were on and keep having more and keep having more. And it's funny because I probably looked to other people, the more I reflect on it, like the guy who just has fun regardless. And they probably got influenced to do more wrong things because of me in a way, you know, as well. And what did you go through a point in, and you did say you were trying to be sober going out, and that's what made you start to do things like when did take more pills and this and that. Did you get to a point in which you didn't feel like you had to be taking pills and drinking to go out?
No, I full fell off. Like I deleted my socials. I full fell off. I got to like maybe 2021 and got into a house, was working heaps and was trying to, and I fell off. I had a missus, deleted socials, and I was like, I sort of felt embarrassed about some of the things I did through my earlier years, and I try and like put that away, and I did grow a lot in that time, but part of me didn't grow because I tried to hide that and I wasn't being authentic to myself. So I sort of fell off until I was like 24, 25. And by this stage, I was working, things were going all right, smoking weed a little bit just to cope with my ADHD. And with that, at times, like I'd go through stages where you'd smoke for 3 months and then you're like, fuck, I'm over this, like I'm not training as hard and lose motivation. So I'd give it away. But just that repetitive cycle of like 3 months on, 3 months off and loving what I was doing, but I hadn't done enough inner work still at that stage that I was having crumbling relationships as well. And yeah, I guess I sort of would always wonder why. I'm like, oh, I'm just fucked the way I look at things and stuff like that. But I just hadn't done enough. And it wasn't until like maybe 26 when I had my daughter that things really kicked off. And I was like, oh, okay, now you got to get serious. Like, who are you? Because she's going to figure you out. You need to really work yourself out to be the best dad that you can be. So I did a lot more work and a lot of really challenging thoughts and going, sometimes my brain wants to shut off and it goes, no, this is too hard. Like, don't think and I would take that easy route heaps. But now I sort of go, why do I do that? Why I question my behavior at times. And I'm like, no, well, next time you should do it this way or you behave like that because of this. So to get around that, you need to pre-plan in your head or do whatever. So yeah, I guess
that takes a lot of work, dude. Like it's realistically, like that sounds like an easy thing to say here and understand, but I'm pretty aware of that feeling I'm pretty familiar with that feeling of it's too difficult. Like I don't like it. I don't want to do it. Doesn't matter if it's the way I feel,
yep.
or it doesn't matter if I'm stuck procrastinating. Like I might be watching a movie or a Netflix or a YouTube or whatever it is and going, I know there's stuff I have to do right now. And it might even be journaling, dude. I'm trying to work out something pretty deep at the moment. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It actually takes a lot of work to learn about yourself, bro. It's a lot of work. So to be someone who does it is a fucking high characteristic trait, you know?
Yeah. Look, I've just turned 30 and I'm still trying to work. And I think that I want to be like this forever. I want to be 40, 50, 60, 70, still trying to make myself better and go, because I don't think that the human brain is we understand nothing about it.
Yeah.
We think we do, but we're tip of the iceberg. And I want to be that person that's always challenging the thought and how can I be better? How can I improve? How can I do this? Because that's where I get the most, I guess, satisfaction knowing that I'm always working and chipping away. And I really want to work with young males, especially that will sort of, I try not to be judgmental as much anymore. And I go, well, maybe this, and it's human nature to be sort of like, oh, he's doing this, yada, yada, and talk. But I try and I want to work with people that are like that and challenge their mindsets because that can sort of shift communities and we can shift the mentality of young males. So I'm really passionate about that.
Well, you've been exposed to someone that I think most people have never been exposed to, dude. You know what I mean? Like not just from your own personal experiences, but to also witness firsthand what the worst of the worst can look like. You know what I mean?
For
like
sure.
I can imagine it would come with a lot of empathy, dude. You'd have a lot of and by the sound of things, you're finding a lot of satisfaction in the fact that you are able to help people and guide them and things like that as well. So the empathy is going to continue to be like, fuck, I want to do more because it's so bad out there, you know?
Yes.
Continuously.
I am very mindful that, more recently, and we'll sort of go through a bit more, but more recently I've been running a drug and alcohol rehab in Port Stephens in just above Newcastle there. And it has a quite renowned name amongst jail boys. It's renowned rehab.
And why do you think that is, if I can ask? I'm not sure.
Towards the end there, the guy that was running it, and he was the guy that started it as well. I don't want to really knock anyone too much, but it did turn into less of a program and more of a get out of free jail card.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
And we did get away from what the core values were, and it was very monetized. It was turning over a lot of money each year. And then we got some guys in there that were quite, I guess, heavy hitters. And I'm of the understanding and belief that everyone deserves a day in court. I don't care about allegations. It's contrary to what I'm doing as a case manager in AOD to judge anything you've done before. You're here because you're saying that you have a drug addiction, and I want to address that. And everyone was the same there that worked there. It was just like, don't really care. But yeah, some of the people we had in there weren't ready and weren't, and that's rehab. You're never going to get everyone on the same page. But my standpoint, I get up in the morning meetings or lunch or dinner, whatever it may be, whatever I need to stand up and run a meeting. I'd sort of just go, look, you can take the piss all you want. That's all good. You get out of this what you put back in, and I'm here. I rock up here, and I have shared custody of my daughter. So I was doing like 11, 12 days straight, and then I just have my non-negotiable. That's my time with my daughter, and then I come back to work, and I'm just smash 12-hour days, whatever. But I'd sort of go, if you're taking the piss, I'll fucking tell you. And if I think that I will be here when you're ready, but I'm not going to put effort into someone that's not ready. And not, are you just going to take the piss and ruin it for people that are? So I was pretty straight up. I just go, look, I'm here when someone's ready, and I can tell that you want to sit down and have an actual talk and go through your prevention plan and do some case management. Tell me about your childhood, so I can really pinpoint where your drug use has started. Some of the guys in there didn't really go, oh, I'm not a junkie, this and that. And I'm like, it's not about that. You're here because you're doing a lagging because for some way or another, drugs have fucked you. Like, you put you in a position where your life's now shit. You're looking at time, and you're down in the dumps mentally with it. I don't care if you think that you're not a heavy user or this or that. The reason we're running this rehab isn't just for the drug use, but it's also to change the lifestyle and give people an alternative, teach them new skills, get them trained up and qualified to do other things, and away from the life of being a criminal, essentially.
Sorry to cut you off. I bet that's frustrating in a way. Like, I've never even thought about rehab from that sense where some people might not even necessarily want to be there in the first place, you know, because everyone that I know and speak to have been voluntarily putting themselves through the works, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something that I find so much relatability with people. And it's a very common trend on my podcast to want to speak to people like this because I'm constantly practicing sobriety myself. Like, I understand what happens when I'm not, so I find that relatability. But as someone who works in that program, it's making me think of a story that wasn't too recent, but it was recent enough to go to remember it. It was within the last couple of years. I had to go to court for something, and there was someone who was there for driving under the influence of ice, and something happened, right?
Yep.
And the judge basically said, we're taking your license off you for X amount of time. And he basically just told the judge, no, if you take my license, I'm just going to keep driving. Don't bother.
And it is the mentality.
And the judge says, well, what do you expect us to do? And he's like, well, I don't care what you want to do. If you take my license, I'm just going to do it again.
Yeah.
And the judge goes, all right. The judge literally said, all right, you can keep your license if you go to rehab. And the guy kind of walked out like, fuck yeah, I won the lotto.
Yeah.
And I've always thought of that moment, like, that guy never went to rehab to be better.
No.
He went to rehab to get out of punishment.
It was the step to get to where he wanted to be.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of people that just fumble their way through. We were a rehab of 35, and we got down to 4-star. So we had the big boss sort of go off. I don't want to go into it too much. Some stuff happened.
Yeah.
But he went off, and he was over in New Zealand, and it was me and pretty much 3 other blokes running it. And we had 35 boys. It was chaos. And we were trying to, like, fucking pulling boys up, going up cabins, fucking knocking on doors. We weren't doing searches or anything, but I just tell the boys, like, I don't want to catch you doing anything. Don't fucking do it. We get the coppers come and do bail checks all the time. We had rap that in and out of there, man. Like,
wow.
I'm like, don't be fucking idiots. Like, I can't help you. Help me help you.
Yeah. That's a crazy rehab, bro. That's the craziest one I've heard of.
So we had like when it started to go sort of, I guess, south, is we had like again, I won't say a name, but a celebrity sort of come in.
Yeah.
And he was a TV star. He come through, and that attracted the media outlets, Sydney Morning Herald and stuff like that. And then they started to look at who else was there. And they're like, wow, there's some guys here that are on big, large commercial, like tons and involved in different things and different crews and stuff like that. And for the most part, there was a mutual respect up there among the people that run the rehab. We're not here to send boys back to jail. That's the main thing. Well, if you're continuing to use and you're a problem, you've got to go. But you go do your bail conditions. You go hand yourself into the police. We don't do that. We when they come, we talk to the police. We're polite. We do what we have to. Looking for this person, give them a call, or run up the cabin, go grab them. But for the most, we don't deal with. We're not in the business of sending boys back to jail. We're very opposed to the jail system. It's not rehabilitation. It's the opposite. There's more drugs in rehab, in a jail, than there is in rehab. 100%. And it's easier to get if you know the right people who hook up. It's easier to get in jail. So you're almost better to come to a rehabilitation center where there's people that are understanding and they're like, help us help you. Yeah. Don't fuck up. We'll go do mad shit. I'll teach you a skill. We'll go to the beach this day. Do this. We've got some stuff to do around here. Get through this course. Fucking hot day. Let's go barbecue at the beach. Whatever it may be. I did heaps of that. And I'd tell the boys when it sort of get a bit slack, I'd just be like, what do you want me to do, boys? I can't reward bad behaviour. So like I'm not taking the mickey or anything like that. It's all good. That's on you. I go home at the end of the day. For me, it's not a big deal. I got a day off. I can go do it. For you, so you're fucking stuck here 6 to 12 months, sometimes longer, 18 months. So you play. You help me help you. So you play ball a little bit. You do what you have to get through. Some of the boys had a big thing about talking to psychologists, and I was like, I sort of had to strip it back, and it's almost like gaslight them into like, just do it for your court. She can write you a report, or he can write you a report, and fuck, if you get through 8 sessions, you get a report out of it. You have to blood your way through it, whatever. But you might get to your 5th session and go, fuck, there's something that happened in my past that I didn't realise that I had like bundled down there. And maybe that's affected me heaps. And you might get something out of it. So I'd sort of gaslight them like, boys, it'll be good for court. Like, court's coming up. I need stuff to write in your reports, yada, yada. And some of the boys actually did. And we had this chick that was a court chaplain, and she was coming up and doing a course with the guys. And she was just really, really well-spoken, empathetic approach, and just a genuine lovely lady. She was really good. And all the guys, no one ever had anything bad to say about her. Fast forward a couple of months, we had Rap to come in and do a pretty big raid, and it wasn't on the boys. So, we had some stuff happen, and a guy that was working there, he'd left, and I was on holidays at the time, and I'm getting phone calls off the boys going, what's going on? They're here raiding. They're not raiding the cabins. I went, right. Sort of spoke to some of the other staff, rang them. They're like, yeah, they're just... they've determined it as a crime scene. I'm like, yeah, radio. Do you need me to come down? I was up the coast. I was like, do you need me to come down at all? And they're like, oh, we don't know what's going on. They won't like let us leave. We've got to sit out in the shed and shit while they're interviewing people. So I fast forward 3 days and I come back and the boss was like, oh, I've got to take off. I'm going overseas for a bit. And I said, yeah, sweet, all good.
Wow, bro, that's fucking crazy.
And then it was like,
the fucking evil monster of addiction and corruption, bro, can just fucking infiltrate its fucking little ears everywhere, bro.
Yes, yeah, 100%. And my biggest concern at that stage was the boys. It was like, there's some boys here that are on some pretty serious charges. And I was surprised when I was doing case management with them. I'm like, how the fuck did you get bail? Like, how the fuck did you get out? And just big charges. And I'm like, yeah, sweet. Like, it's good to hear. Let's work with what we got here. Good. But yeah, I guess when that happened and they're already looking at quite big laggings, you're sort of like, the boys are like, are we going to get shut down? I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, fuck.
Did you find empathy for the lads in there that were already looking at serious things because you felt like they were making improvements? Or was it, regardless of that, you just felt like they shouldn't have been put in that situation in the first place? So what was a big reason? Or was it both, to be honest?
I definitely, to a degree, felt empathy for everyone. Some people that were taking the piss, it's sort of, you get compassion fatigue. And when you're working with 4 staff across 35 boys, and someone's continuously a problem, you're sort of like, you know that we're overrun. And like, I'm not too different from you. Like, I've lived a life too, and I understand what you're going through. And just stupid shit. And you have a chat to them, like, fuck, I need you to stop doing that because it's fucking messing it up for other people. People get the shits about it and this and that. We just want to keep a tidy house. We're all here for the same reason. Get out of it what you put into it. But yeah, I try to have empathy for everyone, but it does wear thin after a while. If you're someone that's taking the piss and you're not going to change. It's hard for me.
Yeah.
But in there, and I did a post on it, some of the most genuine people and nicest gentlemen pretty much I'd met at that rehab. And some of these boys had murder charges, done 23 years for jail for murder, manslaughter, some pretty heinous crimes, but they were the nicest people I've come across. Wow. Anyone, we go to church. I'm not overly religious, but everyone needs something to believe in. I believe in some of the stories that's within Christianity. We had a lot of Muslim boys, so I learned a little bit out of the Quran and stuff like that. I just take stories from things and like love thy neighbour, look after the person next to you, or I guess David and Goliath, the little man taking on the big man, shit like that. And I just have my analogy on those sort of stories. And for me, that's sort of what both Quran, Bible, they're just stories and to live your life by and morals. But it was good. We took them there and we were doing Sunday service and then we would do this program on a Monday night. It was called Alpha. So you just go there and learn a little bit about this part of the Bible. They put on a mad feed. We take the big community bus down there. All the old ladies, or all walks of life really, but all the old ladies, they just see these lads walk in, ankle monitors, like knocked out, fucking. The barber would come on the Thursday, so they're all still fresh on the Monday for Alpha. And just big lads, like 120, 130 kilos, 6'4". And they go in there, the girls would just crumble, old ladies, like, and the boys would just arise to the occasion. They were gentlemen.
Yeah.
And that was the best thing about, I guess, the church that we did. Some of the boys, because of their religion, sort of tuned out, and that's cool. Like, I'm not overly religious because I find religion divides people, and I don't like to talk about it, I guess. I believe in just your basic moral sort of stuff. You just look after the person, do right by people. That's the bottom line with me.
Yeah. I feel like pretty much anyone can agree that religion serves its purposes inside of the fact that it gives a lot of people guidance, and that inner calling of higher power and just decision making and love thy neighbor. Like, for some reason, that's just not obvious to some people. Common sense ain't that common. So to be able to read that and follow that is in my opinion, a net positive to the world. Although I definitely agree, like, religion has its humanity inside of it,
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
for sure.
I mean, some of the most crooked people I've met are full-blown right-wing Christians and stuff like that. And every person is just different. Just, take from it what you will. It's like anything. Like we're talking about the rehab. You get from it what you put in. So if you take the time to listen to someone, you might agree. You're not going to agree with everyone, but you might agree with this person and might see a different perspective on things. So it was good in that sense that we did that. And like if we were to run another rehab, and that's definitely something I want to do, there will be an aspect of that. But it might not just be harnessed on one religion, and it might reach out into more. But yeah, definitely having something to believe in is a big thing, especially when you're a lost soul. You need something to gravitate towards, and it might not be religion, but for some boys it is, and it's a bit of an old school thing, especially with my parents and stuff like that. They weren't overly religious, but people still get married in churches and funerals are at churches and stuff. So it's just this old sort of thing.
Well, it's the whole Western world's based upon it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's not necessarily so prominent in Australia, but like in America, you swear an oath to the Bible every time you say anything in court. Like, marriage is literally a religious principle. Like, there's pretty much everything we have. We're in the year 2025. Like, that's Jesus' birthday.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's
like
crazy.
It's literally taken over the whole world. But you're saying it is very important for especially a lost soul to have something to believe in. But I think that people in general will believe in something no matter what it is, like there's going to be something. So you may as well do your best to try and make the thing you believe in something net beneficial, because if you don't, you could easily believe you're a loser. You could believe your missus is cheating on you. You're going to believe in something. So like try and at least align it to something beneficial,
Yeah. And that's something I live by. You've got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything. Like, you've got to have core values. And if you don't know what your core values are, fucking put the work in to find out what you believe in and what your morals are, and make sure that you stand on them at all times. Because if you're someone that sort of sways, you find someone that will take you down the wrong path, or find something that will, take you astray. So I think that's the biggest thing, is just sitting down with yourself and going, what's important to me and writing it down. Like we're talking about journaling before, it's massive. Like putting things pen to paper, especially with my ADHD, and I know Mikko's the same. You got to write that shit down, and it's different. And I go and I sit back and look at it. A lot of it's on my notes these days on my phone, and I look at it and I go, I can change the perspective from the thought, and I look at things a little bit different, and just letting that weight out as well. Like, especially if I'm feeling some type of way, we were talking about before, like who, what, why sort of thing. Writing it down with that thought, with those bases of those questions, takes a weight off your shoulders. Like it's massive.
Yeah,
There's real power in it.
Fuck yeah. So everything that you were helping these lads, and maybe it was only lasses as well, you're helping in rehabilitation?
All men.
Just lads, yeah. How did you learn the skills you need to learn as someone who's now helping others in that field? Did it all come from your time working as a youth worker and leader, or was it a whole nother set of skills you had to learn?
I don't know. I'm like, I've worked corporate jobs and stuff like that. I did like a spell as a case manager in psychiatric claims for workers' comp and stuff like that. I guess I'm just someone that gets in, has a go, and learns shit. And I learn by doing. And with these guys, I can sort of relate. Like I've done what they've done. Maybe not to the extent of some, but been around people that definitely have. So it's like, and I'm at a stage now, especially when I got into rehab. Like I've got a daughter. I love my life. Like my life's really good, and it's because I continue to show up for myself and do the things that are hard. There's this really good saying, and I think it was Jeff Bezos said it. Anxiety comes from things that you're not doing. You have anxiety about something you haven't done. So if you look at it like that, and often for me, that's so true and relatable. Like I'm usually anxious about, I've got this thing tomorrow, and I was meant to do this. I've got a dog trainer at the moment, training my French Mastiff. And she's like, make sure you read that book. And then she came the second time. I was like, look, I've got to be honest. I'm not a dog shit here. I haven't read the book. I've been training her, like, went through everything. She's working, she's going good. But I'm like, I don't know what's in the book. I'm like, I had a bit of anxiety before you got here because I'm like, fuck, you're a dumb cunt. You said you would.
It's almost like the preparation, eh? I fucking never heard that before, but I fucking understand it, eh? Yep. Anxiety comes from what you haven't done, because I might get anxious about a speech or something I have to give, or even like one thing that really gets me is like speaking in front of like weddings or funerals, things like that. Like the more anxious I am is because I haven't read what I have to read 100 times.
Yes.
But if I start to become more prepared, the anxiety starts to go away. Eh?
Yeah.
Fuck, I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's good. Like, and that really resonated with me. And I only seen it once. It was like a video on, like, it was just a reel or something. And like, I would have saw this thing like maybe 9-12 months ago. It just stuck with me. I still remember watching it going, fuck, that's so true.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was the question we were on?
So the question was like, where did you learn the skills that you needed to learn in order to help people, especially with something like rehabilitation? And the second question that I thought of just now was that is rehabilitation, in a sense in which you're helping these lads go through, the same sense in the 12 steps of NA or AA? Is it kind of the same process?
Yeah. So look, I never went through. I was pretty fortunate. I never did NA before I started the rehab, and then we were doing NA, and the guy that was running it, obviously stuff happened, and he nicked off for maybe 6 to 9 months, and I was having to get the facilitators in, and the boys were going dry because we were like having all this stuff happen with the rehab and stuff, and we're in the media a lot. So I was like getting these new guest speakers to come in. We had a lot of people pull out because of the bad media, so I was like constantly sourcing guest speakers and stuff like that. And I ended up starting to share more, and I was like, come on, boys, I want to see, like, I'll be like, NA's on 2 o'clock, I'll be sharing today, and I want to see people share. Like, I don't want, and I will, if someone doesn't voluntarily go, like, get in a circle, I end up changing it. We used to have, it was like a big shed with like a kitchen, there was like a pool table, ping pong, it was schmick. Barber chair, we had all my barbers from Nui come up, and they were, the boys were stoked. So I had a barber chair and a ring light and all this shit. And then like a mezzanine with the gym and our offices and stuff like that. And we used to run the tables like 3 lines like that, almost like a cafeteria. And the boys were getting real dry, and I just wasn't getting much out of them. I said, they come in one day after I was on the Arvo shift, and they come in one day for the 5 o'clock meeting, and I'd fucking ripped all the tables one out, just fucking made this circle. It was like a U, a massive U. And I said, now you can't hide, because I get up here and I look around, and it's hard to get lost in people, and you cunts always sit there, you cunts always sit there. I'm like, no, none of that. You come in here, you sit somewhere new every day, and I will scan the room. And if you're on your phone, fucking, I'll pull you out on the mic, and the boys hated that. So I don't want to put anyone on show, but like when we're doing these meetings, I need you to put in the work, and if we want to turn this thing around, you just need to help me a little bit here. Like we're so short staffed. And one of the other boys I work with, he came through the program. So he came through around 6 years ago, was in the program for a year, was heavily addicted to methamphetamine, come to the program, and then it changed his life massively. And then he ended up becoming an intern and then later a paid worker. So it ended up being me and him running a lot of the meetings. So the boys had that respect for him, and like, I guess my image when I came in later than him, my image, and I knew one of the guys that had come through before, and the boys were still there, and they're like, "You're old mate's mate," yada yada. So I just had a little bit of mutual respect as soon as I walked through, and I guess I like to think that I'm a bit of a relatable guy, and I give everyone empathy and respect when they talk. So that worked wonders for me, and I got that back. It was just what we were facing at the time with all of the media and stuff. It's a lot. Boys are looking at some boys there looking 15 years on the bottom, like a long time in jail. And then the other thing is we did families on Saturdays. Saturdays was family day, so it's almost torture, man. Like, because you might get box visits or whatever in jail, but they're coming up for 6 hours at a time, and you're free to go to your cabin and do whatever. Kids are coming up, and it sort of teases you, and you're like, I know that I'm going back to jail. Like, this is hard. It's hard being able to touch someone and be there, and then sort of after 6 hours, send them on their way.
Do you think that kind of pushed people in the right direction? Like,
100%.
Is that a good 100%,
thing? Yeah. Because at times we were pretty rural. Like, I think it was almost like working in the pit again. It took me an hour to get to work. We were on the water butt, and the boss would allow the boys to bring up their jet skis and shit, and we'd hold classes to get your boat license and stuff like that. We had like a pontoon. Fishing was hectic. Like,
that's fucking crazy shit.
Six, bro. It was a resort, and that's why they smashed us in the media. They're like, it's a old holiday resort. They're like, these crims shouldn't have like a tennis court but it's therapeutic. I'm like, we're in the middle of nowhere. They can't go anywhere without us.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, they're still humans. Like, we've got to give them a chance. What are we going to put them in a cell and expect them to change?
Yeah.
We've got to create an environment where they're open to have these conversations, get up in the gym, get on the walk at 5 a.m, see the sun come up, watch other lads do good, and sort of push each other and hold each other accountable.
Yeah.
And the environment has to be therapeutic. It has to be somewhere like, fuck, I've just woken up in a cell for the last 6 months before I got bailed here. Like, and now I'm around all boys just training, like mad feeds, like heaps positive. I mean, if you're doing the wrong thing, we'll let you know about it, but you need to have that, look how good life can be. And this is where you can start that.
Inspiration, eh?
Yeah. And there's plenty of boys that come back and give back to the hab for sure. They come up and do talks, and yeah.
That's sick, bro. Wow, I can't believe that whole world exists. When you had to do something like, for the first time, removing all the tables and setting everyone up into a circle or a U shape, when you decided to share, right? I'm not asking you to please share with me the exact things you shared, but I'm wondering what it is that people share about. Do you share? Like, what do people share? Like,
yeah. Sure. So for me, like, it was a bit, I guess, from my understanding of NA and going in there, like, I didn't really know, and like I was trying to encourage people to do something that I wasn't really unsure of, but I'd get up there and do talks, and like your voice would crack and shit, because you realise, like, oh fuck, that really affected me, and like you bring it all up, and I try and keep it raw and just be as real as possible, just to give people that opportunity. But it actually helped me, because I was like, although I was off drugs at that time, it really, like, I don't know, it's brought some stuff up for me, and I was like, oh fuck, that really affected you, like maybe we should think about that some more and talk to a psychologist about it. So it was really good. And then, like,
and are you sharing like your addictions or some of the experiences you got yourself in, and maybe where it started? Is it just kind of an overall blanket of information around the subject of drugs and alcohol? Is that what it is?
I always would share and go through my time in addiction, what I did in certain scenarios. It might have been times with the boys, and or times I'd be snorting rack one out like on a Tuesday, like because no everyone's at work, and I'm off for the day, and I'm like, fuck, like it'll get to 9 o'clock, and I'm like, fuck, go to the gym, go to the beach. So bang a few lines, go to the gym, come home, bang a few more lines, go to the beach, just do normal day shit. But I'm like, that's not normal. Like we've all probably been to that stage, but it wasn't until like, and then you do that a couple of weeks, and then you sort of have, I guess, serotonin levels are getting low, and you sort of get a bit low in mood, and you're fucking like, fuck, why isn't my life getting better? And it's like, well, there's a common denominator here. You're altering your mind and the way you think every other day. So I'd always try and end on a positive. I'm like, fuck, I'm really grateful. Like every day I wake up and tell myself what I'm grateful for, remind myself I've got a beautiful daughter. I'm able to be an active father. Job I love. I've got a roof over my head, like doing renovations, whatever. I'm able to afford to do these things. My car's serviced, running. It's nice. I'm happy. Like I can afford to buy clothes I want. I know a lot of this is materialistic, but for a lot of people, just having new clothes and stuff is like an issue. Especially if when you come from dealing drugs and you're doing all right, to then trying to go cold turkey, like, and you're on Centrelink, fuck, just paying rent and the fucking food, you'd be fucked.
Yeah, dude.
Like it's so hard to come back from. And I was definitely at a stage there where we were running around doing stuff, and you get accustomed to the lifestyle and having the money.
Yeah.
But then you accumulate things like I've had the nice cars, the Range Rovers, the brand new Raptors, this, that, bikes. I never appreciated any of it. I was like, because I never worked hard for the money. I was like, oh yeah, mad. And people would be like, fuck, you've got this and this and this. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But it's because I didn't work hard for it. Whereas now that I solely just work for my income, I'm like, fuck, I worked 5 hours for that. I'm like, was that worth it? I don't know.
Yeah, that's fucking funny, bro.
Yeah,
I know exactly how that feels, eh?
It's so true. And it's the same with the boys up there. And I'd really like this one bloke had everything, like, and I'll just be like, he'd use it the same. He'd be like, yeah, it's all right. I'm trying to sell it. Don't really care. I've driven it 3 times. It's like, I'm like, fuck, man, that's like half of the house deposit. Like, people will kill for that. But just because you haven't earned it properly and you're not happy within yourself deep down, so you just don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I've never had that thought, eh? Maybe it's not about how much money you make, and maybe it's how you're making your money that
100%
makes you more appreciative for it.
Yeah.
Because I guess the more, to be honest, it wasn't even the most money I've ever made, but like the most appreciative I've ever been for when it came to spending, I shouldn't waste money on that, I shouldn't waste money on that, was when I was doing like night shift, when I was fucking living out of state, when I was doing that kind of work.
Yep.
That's when I was a bit more conscious of the fact of like, fuck, should I really be buying fucking another pair of DNs this week?
100%.
But I've been 19, 20, you know what I mean? Money's coming and going. It's like, yeah, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
Who wants a pair of DNs?
Oh, bro. My olds are into me. Like, I want to say at least 30 pairs of shoes. I wear like 5 on rotation.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you do with them? I'm like, oh, that pair I paid like $1,500 for and shit. And like, you don't wear them, sell them. I'm like, nah, one day I'll wear them.
You can't, bro. You can't.
Yeah. I just like stupid shit I bought like early 20s. And I'm like, they just sit, and I've moved a couple of times. I've bought and sold 3 houses in the last sort of 7 years. I've just taken this shoe collection. So it's a running joke in my family. They're like sending me things. It's like, Mum sent me this one the other day. It's like a bed with like all the shoes under it.
Yeah.
You need to get this. So it's like, but it's a bit of running joke. And every time my brother or someone's chipped in to help us move, he's like, I'm fucking not moving all those shoes. I'm fucking they're going in the back of my truck with all the work tools and shit, or just taking the mickey out of you. But, I don't know, I'm real antsy with my shoes. I don't know.
Bro, honestly, like something like that, I completely understand, especially shoes. But I think retail therapy in a way, and I'll have it heavy, to be honest, the addiction to buying new clothes and shoes and things. It's just as addicting to fucking substances, bro. And I'm constantly fighting that addiction hard, bro. It's very, very hard.
I think for people that have struggled with drug misuse and getting away from it, addictive personalities are something you can't run away from. You just need to pick your level and what you're addicted to. For me, I'm now like, I'm a gym junkie. I fucking love people lifting heavy weights. It's another aspect of the business with the True North project that I really want to focus on is the personal training and the benefits of the scientific benefits of physical exercise and nutrition. If you're, and that's one of the biggest things we do with our AOD counselling with the project is strip it fucking back. What are you doing to empty your mental cup as well as your physical cup. But I find the gym empties the mental cup just as much.
Yeah, for sure.
And it takes you out of your head. You get around boys, and we've been pushing some sessions at the moment where we get 5, 6, 7, 8 boys together. And sometimes I hate it because I'm like someone that gets in their fucking headphones in. I'm fucking 3 minutes sweet next set. Like hanging, I struggle to have me rest. But the camaraderie around the boys, and then I just push heavier. So you're around the boys, push heavier, and I'm like, fuck, I need more than 3 minutes rest anyway.
Yeah.
And then having a laugh between, like it's fucking unreal.
Gym's
like,
fucking hectic, bro. For the last maybe 6 months, I think I've been fucking so addicted to it, to the point where, because I've been off work lately, I can't do legs or anything, so I was all my crutches on my way there, right? Just doing fucking whatever I can do.
Still trying to show up.
Trying to show up.
Just get that little bit of release, endorphins.
Anything I can do. But because it was in the mornings and the lunchtime, I may as well go gym. By the time I'm getting to 6, 7 p.m, I'm thinking, fuck, I got to go back, bro. Like, I'm fucking loving it, eh?
We've done some, me and Mickey have done some fucking double sessions of late. Man. I've put our Mick to the fucking ring, and he tries to keep up. But.
I've seen the fucking reels, bro. You're putting up some...
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Nah, it's mad, bro. So, you said you want to get back into running another rehab again.
100%.
How would you even go about doing something like that?
Look, we've got some. I won't go into too much at the moment, but in talks with a couple of people, trying to work it all out. If that falls through, we're doing AOD counselling at the moment for a couple of lads that are going through the system. And in that, we just try and be like, look, we know you're going to court and stuff. That's one thing. Like, but you're obviously not sweet because you've got in a position where you've slipped up again. So how do we go about fixing that? Like, you need to talk to us. And I'm really like, I try and squeeze the lemon out of them. I'm like, nah, you're not being honest with yourself, and you're not going to shit. You're spending money to come talk to me and doing the best to get your reports and get you sorted. I'm going to give you what you pay for, and they're going to be hard conversations. So definitely a rehab longer term. But if the one we're sort of talking about at the moment isn't a go, then it's working out how the fuck do we do it. That's sort of the mindset with the project at the moment. Is it's not like, can we do it? It's how are we going to do it?
Yeah.
And just standing on that all 10 toes. So this is what we're doing. We've got the skills. We've got lads around surrounded by me that have been through addiction, that have heads on their shoulders, articulate great conversation, are relatable, and just want to do it for the right reasons. So we'll do it. We've just got to work out how yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will 100% create a safe haven again, and get boys through it. And I guess the reason that I chose the True North project as the name is this is my true north. It's helping lads get through those mental battles, often the black sheep or people that haven't been given a chance or get written off early. I fucking love that. I love walking into a room and that, like, I'm not massive, but people look at me and go, look at this fucking Roy Dad, like covered in tattoos. Big boy, bro. And I cop that, and I'm like, I love it. I walk in there and they go, have a conversation with me, especially with youth work. You go in there around suit and ties and that.
Yeah.
Like, look at this, what do you know? Like, should you be a youth worker and stuff? And then I get around that, you're really knowledgeable and like you articulate well. And I like watching in their eyes as I engage with them, watching their thought pattern change. It's like, my initial thing was, this is just a big juice head, like covered in tattoos sort of thing. But I love that. I love getting looked up and down and going bang, and they go, oh, fuck, you're not what I thought you would be.
Yeah. I love that, bro. I love proving someone misconception wrong, bro.
Yeah, hard.
Fuck, I've had that ever since I was a kid, to be honest with you. I always, and to be honest, tattoos was something where it's always looked at. Everyone always said it's job stoppers, it's fucking all these terms.
Look now,
I'm
everyone's
thinking,
covered.
what the fuck? Like, even growing up, I thought, what the fuck? Like, is it all wrong? And then I went out, my first tattoo, I got tattooed on my head. I thought, you know what, I'm going to prove the fucking point.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing in the world is just I hear it all the time. And it's not that I didn't like it, but it always took me by surprise every time I'd hear it, where it would always come from girls where they'd say, oh, you're actually really sweet. Yeah. And I'd think, what the fuck? Yeah. Obviously, I'm really sweet.
Because you know who you are, but they're seeing this external picture of you. Yeah.
And I'm trying to fucking prove that point, bro. Like one of the biggest motivators I have is to prove that you don't judge someone by their physical appearance. So I'm trying to become dual qualified. I want to go to university. I want to do all these things because I've always been told you won't be successful if you get tattoos in the first place. You know what I mean? And it's also like someone to be relatable. Like one guy I had on the podcast a while ago, shout out to him, was Andrew Trung, and he worked with the company Confit. Have you heard of the company Confit?
Yeah. I did actually. Yeah.
Yep. And he's exactly the same. Where people resonate with him. He would go around to juvies and he would resonate. I just learnt yesterday the words resonate, not resignate.
Oh no, I didn't learn. I've just learnt that. Resignate. I thought it was resignate. Well, resignate, resign, right?
Yeah,
resonate.
Yeah, I see it autocorrect.
I do that. I say resignate.
I was writing it for a YouTube description for something and it was red. And I said, what the fuck? It's resonate.
Fuck, man. That's, wow. You do learn something new every day. Fucking hell.
So, yeah, he's going around to all these schools and juvies and all these things as well, giving speeches about how a life of crime ended up in jail and things like this. And he's finding that a lot of the lads are looking up and listening to him. And I said, well, fucking obviously. Look at you. You're fucking covered in tattoos, bro. You fucking train hard. You know, it's like, it's another reason why I think social media is really emphasizing influences of especially a life of crime or a life of addiction, a life of jail, to now coaching and lifestyle and role models and things like this. And it's like, well, obviously people are going to resonate with that because everyone at least is inclined to temptation of doing the wrong things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, they're fun. Like, especially when you're a young lad, everything that they say is bad for you is it's good fun. Trust, I've done it. But yeah, it's all good to have your fun and stuff, but just
with moderation. And to be honest, I'm still trying to work it all out. I'm trying to work out if there is even moderation. Like, the only thing I can tell myself is no. I can't tell myself some. I can't tell myself maybe. I can't tell myself a little bit. I can only say no or yes. Like, they're my only two options.
The mind's a powerful thing, and doing that sort of. I'm someone now that, fuck, I just turned 30 2 weeks ago, and like, I just had my daughter that weekend. Didn't really plan much. Had a big work week. I sort of just went down the pub with family and that, had dinner and that, had 3 skillies, and it was like, sweet, I'm happy going home. I can get up early and train, like 30, I feel good. And I can do that. Like, I don't really dabble in drugs as much anymore because they demotivate me a little bit, but I can have beers. I love Sunday, I've had beers, or going to the footy and have a couple. I'm sweet with it. Like, I'm like, if I get like a big event, I can go have a couple of drinks and yada yada, but I'm like, gets to like 11, 12 at night, I'm like, fuck, I'm going to go to bed. Like, I'm weakest piss, bro. Soft in the margarine these days, but I don't want to fucking see that sun come up. Trauma.
That's good, bro, to have that understanding and just to get to that place, because I think so many people just don't have that option. That's why something like rehab or NA or recovery and all these things are so good. And to even be someone who's part of the program, helping others inside of it, to be like, well, not everyone's like that. That's good to hear from me, you know, because it doesn't give me hope in a way where it's like, oh, maybe I'll be able to just have a couple beers one day, but at least it lets me have less judgment, which is accidental when I do see people indulging in things. Even my mum and her friend, my mum has a mate staying over at the moment, and the two of these girls are having champagnes and wines,
giggling like schoolgirls.
And like, I can't help but be like, fuck no, you don't know what you're doing. Please don't do it. You know, but some people can, some people can't. You know?
And it's different for everyone, and I think that it's important, especially in an NA environment or an AA environment, is that to see other people that do get to a stage where they're like, I can be around it, I can have one. I've got to a stage where I've got so much mental fortitude with it that I'm sweet. Like, and it's good and important for people to be like that, because for a lot of people in early recovery, they're probably feeling as though I could never be that person. I'm going to stay clean forever. And there's nothing wrong with that either, like, at all.
Well, that was me in the first place, right? The first time I came to that realization that I had to make some changes, the idea of never doing it again was devastating. It was like, are you fucking serious? Like, this is all the fun I have. Like, how can I get rid of it? So I just told myself 1 year. I was like, if I can just go 1 year, and I planned for a 12 months, the bender of a fucking lifetime. I knew from the moment I woke up till 4 days later what was happening.
It was on.
I just said, if I can get through a year, I've proved to myself I don't need to do it. I can go without. But then when I got to the 12 months, I was like, fuck, now I'm too scared to not do it.
You hear that so much, eh? People that do that longer period, like 12 months, and I've definitely done 12 months unintentionally, just because I got to a point where I wasn't as interested. But those people that do hang off the bender and love it and just love getting written off and having a good time and socialising, and they do get to that year stage and they're like, I don't have any desire. I don't know what's going on. Like,
well, I got to be
have I changed?
It's not even like I don't have the desire. The desire is different. Like, I still have some things like are gone. Like say I smoked weed every day for I couldn't tell you how many years, 5, 6, 10, who knows. But I have no desire at all to do that. I don't give. To be honest, it's disgusting. I don't like it. I don't
lowers the vibration a bit. Like I'm someone that's in my 15 years, like almost every other day. And now I'm sort of like, I'll eat a hash brown, a hash cookie or something like that. Like, sweet. But smoking a bong or like having a J, my days are done.
I do not miss that at all.
Unless I'm like, overseas, like Amsterdam, and it's like a novelty. Like, sick, I'll do this. But
there's still some things where it's like I think to myself, like, fuck, I am inclined to go do things. If I'm going to a festival or if I'm going to a wedding or an engagement party or a birthday, like, there's a lot of things that I kind of do have the FOMO of not doing. But however, when I got to that 12-month point, that's when I was like, fuck, I've made so much progress in 12 months. Like, like I'm a whole different person. Like, what if I fucking accidentally slip up and then I'm not on this trajectory forward again? And that was the thing that made me not want to do it anymore, seeing how far I've come without it,
And you've got so much
mental. That was accidental.
Yeah, when you have so much mental clarity around it as well, it's like one night on the piss isn't going to change a great deal. You're not going to, you've gone this long, you're probably not going to have it at a point where you're going to relapse or anything like that. It's not going to do much, but you're so motivated that you're like, I just don't even want to do one. Like, I'm just like...
It's the same with gambling for me too, but like gambling's another one where I can't help it. I have this fucking weird thing where one's too many, thousands are not enough. I think I heard that from the boys lately, and I heard that and it made so much sense because it's like I just can't put any money towards gambling, otherwise I'm fucking broke the next day. I might tell myself $10, I might tell myself $100. It's never that.
It's the little win that you get, and they don't come by often, but you might put just even a multi on the footy on the weekend and stuff like that. And if it gets up, that's your next 3 weekends. You're on the multis, and now you've won like $300 on a multi or whatever. But you put 900 into your sports bet. It's that little bit. It's fucking evil, man.
Even losing is addicting, bro. That's what I find. I find self-destruction and self-sabotage is addicting. The worse I feel about one thing, I'm like, fuck it, I'm eating like shit today. Fuck it, put more money in the pokies. Fuck it, let's get on it. Fuck, I'm not going to bed. I'm not going to work. Like, self-destructive is fucking addictive,
Yeah, it is. Like, absolutely. And if that's the mindset at the time, you'll run with it for sure.
What I want to get back onto the topic. When it comes to at the moment what you're doing with lads, so you said it's AOD, is that
it's alcohol and other drugs counselling. So basically what we'd be doing in the rehab in the one-on-one sessions as well as group. So just doing a relapse prevention plan, doing up, getting to know the person, what they're struggling with, connecting them with allied health specialists and stuff like that, and really pushing for because there's always a deeper issue going on, and often whether it's home life's not great, fighting with the wife or the missus heaps, whatever it may be, there's something you're trying to mask. So let's work that out. And I'm pretty good. Like I will share my story now, and I'll be like, look, man, I break down in tears. I do all that shit. Like it doesn't make me less of a man. I still stand on my shit. I fucking pay my bills. I rock up. You're not sort of. A lot of people think they're weak cunts, I guess, to put it a lesser term, but you're not at all. And we want to get rid of that narrative. We're all human. What Sally goes through, Dave goes through the same thing. So why do we treat it different? And I guess...
Do you find that you get that out of people like that are hesitant? Like, because you're painting a picture to me that is with heavy lads, big, involved in crime, like 100%. Big units, like they're going to be tough cunts as well. Do they ever... Do you see them open up and not 100%. Cry necessarily, but deal with shit?
Yeah, 100%.
And is that the first time you think some of them have ever gone through it? Like, I don't even know how I would fucking react in that scenario.
Yeah, I'm sure. And some of these sort of heavier lads, I'm sure they've gotten a bender. Like we've all gotten a bender on the MD or whatever and just had D&Ms and just got real fucking into it. I'm sure they've done that with their friends and stuff like that. It's probably... for me, I'm not a complete random to some of these people, but for them it probably is. It's not a long-term friend or anything like that. But I leave it really open and I'm like, fuck, I struggle with all that too. And I definitely got the conversation out of them, 100%. It's like, all right, how do we capitalize on this? It's good that we've had this conversation, but this is like the tip of the iceberg. Now what do we do with it? How do we go home? I want you to go home and think about this. You got homework now. I want you to do this week and come back. And if you don't do it, I'm going to hold you accountable. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Do you want to change your life? I'm a bit of a hard ass like that, and I'm like, you just got to do the work. And for me, not everyone learns like that either, and that's just one way of doing it. But I do hold people to account, and it's like, I don't know, it's like your boss or whatever asks you to do something, and it comes Monday and you haven't done it, and fucking you're like, fuck, this cunt's gonna sack me. Yeah. So it's like, fuck, I gotta do it. So I make people feel like that a little bit, but I'm like, and then once they see that little bit of, I guess, progress, then I try and capitalize that. See, I said to them, like, see, we just did that one thing. How much better do you feel now? Let's keep doing this. What else can we do? Journaling, all the, just strip it right back, all the basic stuff. Let's hit it. We're gonna do it, and then we can capitalize on it. And you go, fuck, I've always wanted to do excavating or whatever it may be. And I'm like, do it. This is how we do it. I'll research it for you. I'll show you how to do it. If you don't know anyone, if I've got contacts, I'll put you onto them. I do a holistic approach. I'm not like, you should go talk to this person, or if they're in my area, or even psychologists. If it's someone I used before, I'm like, this person's really good. If you want male, female, this, I'll put you in contact. I'll link the stuff. I'm not going to just go, you should go talk to a psychologist, and not link them to the service. Or I try and do everything holistic.
That's fucking so mad, bro.
Down to like, I'm a personal trainer. I'll write a program. Fuck, bro, we're going to get you looking good, feeling good. If you're looking good, you're feeling good. So nutrition, whole foods. Been talking to Ivy a little bit, like.
Shout out to Ivy.
Yeah. Gee. A lot of the carnivore stuff, whole foods, fruits, raw honey, just stripping it right back. Simple ingredients.
That's crazy, bro. But one of my favorite words is service. Service, servant, serving, anything around that topic, right? And you're doing so much to help other people, bro. Down from what they eat, to how they train, to how they think, to what they speak, to the rehabilitation, to the drugs, to the alcohol. You'd be fucking absorbing so much of what you're helping other people with, bro.
We're in the business of changing lives. We're not just a service that refers to another service. We're in the business of doing everything and getting it right. And I don't see, that's the sort of the gap that I see in the industry. And I want to change that. And like, I don't know why more people haven't got onto it sooner.
Well, it's more work.
Bro. Yeah. But I mean, like, we're a small unit at the moment. It's just, there's about 3 of us at the moment. It's a pretty small unit, and we're just making do. We're all working full time elsewhere. I'm working 2 jobs and got my daughter, and I'm trying to pump this and get the personal training up and going and stuff like that as well. But I'm just so determined that, and I want results for people. And I know if I put everything into it, I will get people results. And that's, I strip it back. I want to do well in business, but if I'm doing well for my clients and I'm getting results and I'm focusing purely on a person-centered approach, my business will go well.
Yeah.
I strip it right back. Where people, I've seen other business aspects, especially in the youth work and NDIS, where they're like trying to forward plan stuff. If we do this, this will go well and this will be an income. I'm like, you're idiots. If you support your support workers and make them feel valuable, they're going to look after your clients. Your clients are going to tell people. You're going to have repeated business. They're going to stay with you long term. And it's just simple. You reinvest back into your business.
Yeah.
And I see it so much. I'm like, these are fucking idiots. Like, what are you doing? Like, see it heaps with the NDIS companies. Like, there's a lot. It's $45 billion a year in the budget for the NDIS.
Wow.
And you see these companies and they explode. And then they turn into a revolving door, and then they get this bad name and they have to rebrand and stuff. And I'm like, these are fucking idiots. You just want to be like, and they run around in nice cars, third house, whatever it may be. And I'm like, you just want to act like big businessmen and stuff like that. We'll strip it back. Go do a business degree, and they will tell you, fucking invest back into your people that work for you, and they will look after the service delivery. So then your business will flourish. So for us, we don't want to get massive. I can't help everyone. I like to have a work-life balance. I can't solve the world, and I'm not obnoxious enough to think that. But what I can do is do what I do, look after my people, and do it well.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to do. And be in the business of working myself out of a job. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to be in a position where substance abuse isn't going to be an issue, but I want to work myself out of the current work I've got because there's other people I can help.
Yeah.
So I want to get you through this AOD thing. I want to get you sorted mentally, flourishing in life, having kids, buying houses, doing whatever it is, traveling the world, like filling your cup and living a prosperous life. And then I'll move on to the next person. But whilst you're with me, That's my main concern. And this is what we're going to do for you.
That's fucking crazy.
And just no bullshit. I talk to my guys how we're talking now. I'm like, there's no bullshit. Like I'm not, if you're not happy with something, I want you to tell me and I'll work to make it better. And I'm super open to, as a client, what you've got like to share with me about how I could do things or your perspective as a client. Super open to that, 100%. I'm not someone that has all the answers and I'll continue to learn forever. So
that's a perfect teacher, bro. Perfect teacher is still a student. You know,
yep.
When you said before, it's like how your boss tells you to do something and then Monday comes around, you feel like you're going to get fired, right? And we've had this thing with a couple of things about relatability. Like I said, the people from convict going to juvies and things. When you were saying, and it made me think, you know, when your boss tells you to do something, instantly I got the shits, right?
Yep.
I don't fucking like being told what to do. I've never been one to bow down to authority. I struggle with it. I try my best.
You probably got
I'm
ADHD
learning
like
on it, you know. I'm learning on it. I'm learning. There's a reason why people are telling me what to do. But for some reason, I feel like I deserve people to justify why they're telling me what to do. So I know it's not the right mentality, but a lot of people have it subconsciously. I've just realized I have it consciously now. But however, if my boss is going to tell me what to do and I can see that he's also doing work himself, I'm not going to fucking argue with him. Like, look, he's leading. And that's the difference between a leader and a ruler. A ruler sits on his chair and he just fucking orders things around. A leader's at the front of the army. He's the first one out there, you know? And I think that's why you're the perfect role for what you're doing, bro. It's like, it doesn't matter what walk of life people have gone through. You're like, bro, I lived a life that was pretty fucking rowdy when I was younger. I got myself in fucking pretty unsafe situations. Look at me, I'm fucking...
Yeah, I'm sweet. Like, I love my life. Life's good. And I know what it is to feel like the black sheep and have all that self-doubt as well. I mean, it's a very different path from what my brothers have taken and my parents for sure, and even some of my extended family. And yeah, I mean, it's just, I know what it feels like and I really want to help people with that feeling because it's not nice. And honestly, the power of the mind, and I have this saying that I tell myself, and it's, I have just this insane belief in my ability to manifest things. And I tell myself of a morning that we used to say to the guys at the hub, it was like, the first thing I want you to do after the morning, before you go on the morning walk, is get up in the mirror and tell yourself, look at yourself in the mirror in the eyes and say, I am a great man. And say it until you're oversaying it. But just keep doing that every day. For me, it is, I have this insane belief in my own ability to manifest things. And my parents say it to me all the time. They're like, I don't know how you do it. You just fall on your feet all the time. I just don't, you fuck up so much at times. And then you just go, oh, I'm on to the next thing. And it almost doesn't faze me. Like, I've had past partners say it to me. They're like, I don't know, you just pull fucking rabbits out of hats sometimes. And I'm like, I just honestly, if I don't know, I'll go and learn, or I'll fake it until I learn it. And I just tell myself, I know I'm someone that still struggles so much with self-doubt. Even starting this business, like every second day for a while there, I was like, fuck, no one likes you, like you're doing shit, what you're doing's weird, and all this like just negative talk. And then like in an hour, I'm like, fuck, what was I having those thoughts for? Like, sweet, let's fucking go again. I want to do some content. So, but I've learned that about my brain, and I think that's the biggest thing with neurodivergence is you're not neurotypical. So the way you look at things and perceive things is different to the average person. And a lot of that I've just learned sort of through that, how to cope and how I think of things. And then my mind tries to trick me. I go, no, this hard trick. So I can have those self-talks with myself. And I think that's the most powerful thing is when you learn to master the ability to challenge the thought. I have plenty of thoughts, intrusive thoughts, just stuff that I'm like, you don't have to pick it up. I'll have that thought and go, fuck, that was stupid. Move on to the next. Like, and that's with my ADHD, that doesn't take long. On to the next part. You don't have to act on every thought you have. And I think a big thing in this day and age is a lot of people are worried about what other people think of them. And now I was definitely like that in my earlier years. Like, spent a lot of time buying like superficial shit. I had to have the Range Rover or this or that or whatever. Now I couldn't give a fuck. Like, I like to dress nice and do whatever, but I'm just like,
you do it for you now.
Yeah. I do it as the fuck, I accomplished that. Like, mad, I get to enjoy the fruit. But before I would like stretch myself, like especially owning a home, like mortgage payments are stupid. But would stretch myself to have the nicest of this. And I'm like, but who?
And I know exactly how that feels too. And I feel like I'm slowly starting to become better at that. You know what I mean? And it's a recognition as well, where it's like, oh, I'm doing it because I like it. You know?
Yeah, that's right.
As opposed to in the past, oh, I feel like I have to have a new thing for this occasion. I feel like I have to have this for that. I can't be caught in the same outfit twice. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I still get like, if I run a shirt for too long, I'm like, it's done. I just have this thing where I'm like, I don't want to wear it anymore. And my parents give me so much shit about it, but I don't know. I just like to dress nice and whatever. But
that's good. But like taking pride in how you look is like, I don't think it's a bad thing. Like people have always called people superficial or. There was a word that we used to use in high school days. Like, I can't remember what the word is now. It'll come to me at some point, but it meant like someone's too into their own appearance. And I fucking didn't like it. Vain. Yeah,
vain. That's true. Yeah.
And you said something before, and I have to give a shout out to Mick, because Mick, and it was on that topic of too many people are worried about what other people think.
Yep.
And I've said this most podcasts since Mick said it to me, where what someone else thinks of me has fuck all to do with me.
None of your business. None of my business.
I fucking love that saying now.
He's good, Miko, on the old saying. He's a bit of an old cat, but he knows what he's talking about.
It's cool. I had a point. I'm trying to get back to the fucking thing. I don't know. But
it'll come to you.
Yeah, it'll come to me.
All right. So the other aspect of the business is... we have some core values with the project, and it's responsibility, manhood, fatherhood, accountability, and honesty. So the biggest thing, honesty, you have to be honest with yourself, right, at all times. That's what keeps you in check. Fatherhood's really close to me. I've got a 4-year-old daughter, and for the first part of her life, we were in 50-50 care. We split when she was 8 weeks old. And look, that's not ideal for a bubba to be 50-50. We did that for like 2 years, and then we had this mishap happen where I wanted to go to mediation because some things weren't working. And I sort of mentioned that, and then my daughter was withheld from me. And this went on for, maybe we didn't see my daughter for about 8 weeks. And I hired lawyers and stuff and started the court proceedings. And they really played on my emotions. Like I'm talking to the boys in the hab that are going through legals. I'm like, fuck, you've got a supreme criminal defense lawyer, and I paid my fucking family law lawyer double that to do shit fuck all. Like, and just to put me in a worse scenario. So they played on it, and they were like, yeah, but we might not get a date for a while. And because of her age, and she was 2.5 at the time, because of her age, the court will determine that she's settled with a mother now and you won't get access back, or you'll get every second weekend, essentially, from 50-50. Or you could go to the childcare and pick her up because there's no court orders. But they sort of, and I have nothing bad to say about my ex-partner, just it was emotion. So I found a way to pick her up, and I had people that were like between Sydney and Newcastle. She's from the coast. Who were telling me like, oh, she's here or here, and I was just trying to get my daughter back, and they were sort of like, you can pick her up whenever you want. There's no orders. So I got a phone call one day, and she was in a gym crash, and this guy like sort of knew what it was like. He's a good dad himself. Sort of let my partner at the time know. So we went down there and grabbed her. And she sort of blocked the doorway. I didn't touch her or anything. I picked my daughter up. She ran up to me, daddy, hugged me, and I was like, I'm going. She blocked the door, and then she's like, please don't do this. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what you've done is not good. Like, I haven't seen my daughter in so long, for what? And then the gym manager sort of like tried to barricade me in. I just looked at him and said, we're not going this way, bro. Come on, come. And I sort of just like, he tried to block the doorway. I was like, move it away. And he's like, no, I'm not, yada, yada. So I just turned my back into him and sort of like walked back through him. Left with my daughter, and I ended up having to return my daughter. They got an emergency thing. I had to return my daughter after when we went to court the next day, which is like good and bad. They looked at it bad, but and there's a lot of female registrars, right? So heavily female, a lot of family law lawyers are female, a lot of court child experts. It's a very female dominated industry. So it was frowned upon that I did it that way, but I was like, hey, I was under the guidance, and that's no excuse. I'm my own person, but I was under the guidance. If I'd waited even longer, that I would lose access to my daughter. And they said, as soon as I did that, my lawyer said, sweet, we're going to do, get consent orders right now set up, so it's locked in stone. and basically they got an emergency hearing, beautiful. And they were like, well, because he's already filed, he's actually taking you to court, yada, yada. And then we came to agreement. But the male judge we had was really good. He's like, you shouldn't have done what you did because it wasn't a child-centered approach. But the mother should never have withheld the child. There's no significant event that's happened for you to withhold that child. If you weren't happy and had concerns, then sweet, take it through the right avenues. But so we both sort of got our ass handed to us a bit.
Yeah.
And then I got all the standard stuff. Like I was getting drug tested and stuff like that. Clean every time. It was costing me out of my pocket. I spent $70,000.
Yeah,
And it was stupid just to go to mediation, which I suggested the first time, to go to mediation to get, to come to a resolution. And I was financially constricted at the time. Like I was paying out of pocket. 70 grand's a big hit, and I had other stepchildren at the time, and I was like, I want to have more kids, and I'm like, where do I draw the line? And they're like, this goes the distance, 150K minimum. And I'm like, I've got a mortgage and shit, and I'm like, how far do I take this? So I was sort of forced, constricted into this thing. So I really learned, and went on for 9 to 12 months going through court, and I really learned how the family court system works. And I just want to, I can't change the family law system, but what I can do is coach men through it and be like, don't be reactive. You are going to be told you're on drugs, you deal drugs, you bashed her, DV, everything. They will paint the picture. And it's not always just the mother doing it. They go, the lawyer wants the best result for the client, right? So they will paint the picture for you. Like, we do this all day. DV is the new thing at the moment. Coercive control, whatever it may be. Is he taking drugs? Sweet, let's run with that. He's a drug addict. So they will feed them up and to get the best narrative, because it's such an emotionally charged thing. It's your kid. So it's just the worst people in the family court law system are the lawyers representing. And they're not actually making decisions. They're just guiding people through. So it's just
red hot, bro.
Yeah, it's a tough. And my hair was falling out. I was losing sleep. Like I was just like, fuck, how am I going to make this all work? Like, I might not see my daughter. And some of the stuff that was coming back, they're like, you can have her for 8 hours a day till she goes to school. I'm like, what? And I just had a 50-50 2 years. I taught my daughter how to go to the toilet. Like, I moved her from her cot to a big bed. Like, we were week on, week off. Like, what do you mean you're going to strip that all back and now I'm not capable? For all of a sudden I was for 2 years and now I'm not. And it just shattered me. I was just like, fuck, all I've ever wanted to be was a dad. So it was really tough, and it was really probably the toughest obstacle I've ever gone through. And I still get emotional about it. Like, it was just, probably the hardest thing I've ever done. But we just want to coach men to not be reactive. Like, you are going to come up against this. Oh, hopefully you never do, but there is men that come up against it. And how do we get results? So we have someone that was involved in the rehab that also runs a project called The Good Dad Australia. And it's really just advocating for the males. And there's so much science coming out that young children need fathers, and fatherless homes, and also motherless as well, like both. They need both parents. There's no, we need to get away from this weaponizing children because you are sad that person left or whatever, the relationship didn't work, or you're not happy with the new partner. That shit's got to stop because the kid suffers. And I'm grateful now that my relationship is getting better with my daughter's mum. And it's something that we're definitely working at, and we do come to, around extra time and stuff like that, we do come to agreements on things. We just keep it about the child. But I'm so glad that people were grabbing me and they're like, oi, sit down, you're being overreacting. I know you're emotionally charged, but you've just got to let it run its course. Like, there's nothing you can do. If you do anything, it just makes it worse. So I just kept my lips shut. I went to work, just depressed as, like, cry every day. But
that's just something so much more, bro. It's like once you've gone through something, you're so much more equipped to help someone else deal with it, bro. And it's 100%. Like you say things like that are so powerful, like, I believe I am powerful enough to manifest whatever it is I want,
Absolutely.
And that means for a lot of people who believe in God, that God's going to give you the lessons you need to learn in order to be the person who can do it, you know?
Yes.
And to become strong, you have to go through shit that are hard, bro, you know?
And it's character building, and that's the biggest thing. I've met a lot of people that are like not face much adversity and like sort of silver spoon through and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're boring.
Yeah, bro.
I'm like,
bro. Everyone great has gone through shit, bro.
Yeah.
Even Elon Musk didn't know his dad, bro. You know what I mean? Like, same with Jeff Bezos, I think. Like, everyone great had to go through some kind of adversity, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every fucking... Look at Francis Ngannou, bro, from UFC. Motherfucker had the hardest life ever, and he's the fucking hardest gun I've ever seen.
I think that's like what we sort of... The group that I'm in at the moment with the boys and stuff, obviously, like, the boys are pushing a lot of content and stuff like that, and I do a bit of it. I don't get behind the camera much, like... I just
it's a new world,
it is we did a real research today, and I reckon I could have said about 16 times. But you get me up in front of the boys, 35 boys that are staring me down the lens, sweet, like no straight off the dome, sweet. You get an iPhone camera in front of me, I'm like fuck, can't get the words out.
Well, that's cool, bro. Like it's good to know that you had people around you telling you, you know, it's good, don't react, you know, just whatever, like, because in those moments, you would have had thoughts popping up, telling you to do things, and and that's something you're teaching other people to do. You don't have to act on every thought, you know. And it reminds me back of that point that I lost earlier, which was when we were talking about that, and that's I believe that not all my thoughts are me. They're just fucking one. They could just be experiences that I've lived through that are going through their turn of deciding who wants to come up, right? Yeah. Or it's another theory I have, which is kind of like no one's their actual thoughts. We are just deciding what we want to do with them.
Yeah.
And there's a really good quote that I love that is, you treat your thoughts like a roommate, and you decide what you want to do, and you don't do everything your roommate wants to do. Your roommate might be like, let's go out tonight. Yeah. Let's go gamble. Let's let's hit up that girl. Let's you know, your roommate is always giving you these things, and you're like, oh nah, let's stay home. Nah, I was gonna say she's a 4, but she's toxic.
100%.
So that's another way to look at it as well, you know. And it was good. It's good that you went through that, you know. Like, let's just be patient. Let's not act on everything I think of. And you're another example, bro, of how I was telling someone this. Fuck, maybe it was last night or the night before. I can't remember who it was, but I was explaining to someone that if you can't control your emotions, you're weak as piss. You have to learn to control them. Otherwise, if you're, and a mate, Suki, said it to me a long time ago, a man who controls his emotions is winning in life. As soon as his emotions take over, he starts to lose. And it's so evident, dude. There's no need to be reactive and responsive. And it doesn't matter what the fuck happens in this world. We actually have got the option to just chill and wait. You know, not everything has to be acted on right now.
And it's sort of like sort of thing we'd say in the rehab as well, like, we'd sort of say, like, you said that bloke, like, he's a clicker, like, don't say the wrong thing to him, he's a clicker. And I'm like, weak person. A weak person, he needs to do some inner work. And we'd sort of gaslight the boys and be like, the staunchest bloke in the room that'll go anyone at any time, weak. Realistically weak. He might be able to bang, sweet, all good. But weak person, like, would probably struggle a lot with emotional regulation, needs to do some inner work. And we would go, if you can, like, go through something fucking so traumatic and go, oh fuck, tomorrow's a new day. Like, how am I going to fix this? Not get up and go fucking trash the room and go, who wants it? Like, that's weak. It's a poor mindset, and you need to do some inner work. And we'd let the boys know that. We'd be like, it's a poor quality in a man. Handle your shit and be in touch with yourself. And it's getting, especially the younger boys. Like, I say younger boys. I'm only 30, but the younger boys that are early 20s and stuff like that have not really done much jail, maybe 8 to 12 weeks before they come to us in the rehab. They don't really know what jail's like. And they think it's hectic. Oh, look at this bloke, he's a Trump, this, that. And I'm like, yeah, but realistically, how does that help you? What are we doing? Like, it's all good that if you need to move away from who you're idolizing. It's all good to be a man and stand in your shit, but who you think is a man and who I think is a man are two different people. And I can tell you that now. And I can show you why. Let me sit down and talk to me. I'll tell you why I think that person's not a man and this person's a man. And maybe you can look at a different perspective. Just because you can I don't know, bang, and you run heaps of drugs or this, that, and you're getting girls left, right, and center. It doesn't mean you're a man. You show up for work, you're responsible, you're accountable, you say what you're going to do, and you are someone with integrity. That's a man.
Yeah. Do you know, everyone knows Ziz, you know who Ziz is, right?
Yeah.
Ziz, his brother, Chess, bro, he went on Bradley Martin's podcast over in America on Raw Talk, like maybe 2 years ago or something like that. And he's always calling everyone a sick cunt, you know. And Bradley Martin goes,
that generation,
"What's a sick cunt?" You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you want
and
about?
everyone has an idea of what a sick cunt is, especially being a kid when you first start using the words. You know, you look at the fucking older boys running, these tough cunt, these gangsters. You know, you kind of think they're sick cunts, but Said Chessbra, he goes, a sick cunt is someone who trains every day, someone who's polite, someone who looks after their mum. Someone who says what they mean and does what they say. He never once mentioned anything about being tough, fighting, dealing, looting, stealing, crime, lying. He never said anything about any of those. He didn't mention fucking pulling birds. He didn't mention any of that. He gave the best description of what a sick cunt is, bro. It's someone who fucking tries hard, bro.
Yeah. Is constantly trying to better themselves and better those around him, and uplifting. Someone that just provides for their family, and has morals that they stand on. That's the biggest thing.
I love it. It's fucking mad, bro.
And that's sort of some of the stuff we do at the Hub, and I do the one-on-one stuff with the boys is like, what's important to you? What do you find, I guess, your morals? What do you look for, say, in a partner? I'd start there. And some of it's superficial, like, come on, boys. You gotta do better than that. And I find... although I'm single at the moment, when you do have someone in your corner that's a staunch woman and that holds you accountable, that can do wonders for you, honestly. And that's any male that says that, I don't want a missus, I'll be a playboy for my whole life. No, you're talking shit out their ass. Like, they'll love it for a bit and they'll get 40, 50 and they go, fuck, I'm lonely. Like, fucking hair's falling out, fucking whatever it may be. Like, my rig's not as good as it used to be. And, I'm not pulling 10s anymore. They're more like 6s and 5s. Well, you focus too much on yourself and being selfish. But probably 85% of males, they just want a life partner. They just want a ride or die chick. Someone that's gangster, that looks after you, holds you accountable, and holds shit down when you're working. And has also got her own interests and stuff like that. So I'd always drill that into the boys. And especially if they had a wife already that's stuck through what they're going through, and they might have played up on them a couple of times on this and that. And I'm like, you don't deserve. I'd tell them, you're a piece of shit. You don't deserve her. And that's the bottom line. And some of them will get arc up about it and like, come on, bro. And I'm like, nah. Like, if you've got a good chick, and she's willing to stand by you, and you're still doing the same shit, you need to grow up. And that's the bottom line. You will fumble here. And I said I'm not religious, but God will not give you another woman like that. And you will get karma. You'll have that. If you've got that energy exchange, and you're mistreating someone who's giving you more chances than you deserve, your karma is coming. Trust. So I would always say that to the boys and try and change that, because a lot of the boys, especially the boys that got known for like cocaine and dealing and stuff, love escorts and working girls and stuff. Or I never seen the interest in it. Like, I've never really had to pay to see a chick or whatever. I'm like, sweet,
that's
cool.
a good point, eh? Like, it's so common, bro.
And it's an obsession too. Like,
that's crazy.
They're like, book a room at the Meriden. Like,
fucking hell.
It's massive. They
As soon as you
all
say
love
that,
it.
wow, my brain went crazy.
we had boys trying to sneak local escorts in, and the big boss nearly caught him on the cameras one night. And I sort of spoke to him. I said, I know he's a fucking doing. Like, I'm not a fucking idiot. Said, in that scenario, all right, you're with us for 6 months. Yeah, get it, whatever. But I'm like, boys, at 6 months. Fuck. Go in the shower and have a pool if you have to, whatever.
Right, it's sick how you don't sugarcoat things with these lads either, bro. Like, if you feel like you need to say something, if you find them to have a poor judgment of decision or character, you're gonna tell it to them. If they're not doing the work, you're gonna say it straight up how it is. Like, that's so important, especially for the lads that you're surrounding yourself with, bro.
I'd only been doing them an injustice if I wasn't being authentic and being straight out with them. And at the end of the day, like, I try my best in all the work that I do to be get results and do the right thing by the person I'm serving. So and it's not me either. I can't fake it like that. I just tell them straight. Sure, I've been a dickhead in my younger days. It's all good. I said, I know that thought pattern, but you're older than me, so change it. You should have learnt by now.
Yeah. Fuck, bro, it's so hectic. I can't wait to see everything that's going to come from this in the future, bro. I can't wait to see this facility get constructed.
Yeah, and like, there's a lot to it. Like, I'm passionate about the bodybuilding and personal training and strength and conditioning. That's one aspect. Passionate about youth outreach and doing programs, sporting events, touch footy sides, community barbecues. We've got one next weekend, next Sunday, up at Shoal Bay, which is up Port Stephens. A couple lads, one bloke owns a boxing gym, and another one's got a couple of barbers and does a lot of youth outreach. So the guy that owns the gym reached out and said, "Fuck, we'd love you to come along and like bring a couple of boys." I said, within like 2 hours, I said, "Oh well, like 7 carloads coming. That's gonna be good. I'm bringing my daughter and everything." And I said, "Fuck, I've got this other chick that does breath work and stuff and sound healing. Do you mind if she comes up and does some mindfulness after we do like hit the pads and do some calos?" And he's like, "Yeah, mad, done." So I set it up. I said, "Fuck, we should do this every fortnight or every month at least." So there's a lot of people around at the moment that we're connecting with, and like just so many opportunities that come from it. And I'm like, why didn't I do this sooner? And I'm like, I always go back to, and even of recent, I'm having these self-doubt. I'm like, am I doing the right thing? Because I'm putting myself straight out there. I'm like, just dumping everything and like, fuck. Feels good at the time, but then I'm like, fuck, everyone knows like everything about me, you know, and things that I'd keep hidden away to myself. But fuck, it's awesome, like the shit that's coming from it. Yeah. And you do they're fleeting moments where you go, fuck, the self-doubt. And I'm like, see, this is why you didn't do this before. Remember how you felt? For me, I can feel emotion within 2 hours. My mood can change. I'm like, see how you felt before now you're having this self-doubt, how you felt before, that feeling of euphoria, things are happening, you're networking. That's because how you're feeling right now, that self-doubt, you didn't let that go. Like you could have felt like this years ago. You've always had this in you. And so that helps me release and goes, oh, sweet, let it go. Like I'm doing this for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Someone's always going to have something bad to say about you, because it's always perspective. We're all got different perspectives, and it's all different times in people's lives or days or whatever it is. Someone's always going to have something bad to say. That's sweet. But if I lay everything out on the table, sweet. Like, are you going to bag me? You say more about yourself. If I'm trying to do something good and I'm willing to use my story to better other people, does that say more about you or me? Sweet. Well, and that's your problem.
Bro, I can't imagine commenting bad shit on people's posts. Oh. If I see something that's like a viral meme or reel and it's not the person posting it, obviously I'm going to comment the funny shit, bro. You know what I mean? But see someone making content, and I can't imagine being some of these cunts that comment on it, bro. Like, fuck, those people must be sad people, bro.
Yeah. Look, I haven't copped heaps of it, and I'm sure that I will in the future, but I mean, some of the boys have showed me, and then you look at their profiles, and they're actually trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? You're trying to preach like pep talks or TED talks on your way to work and stuff, and I'm like, but why are you bagging someone else?
Yeah,
it's doing the same thing. It's
wild.
There's an old saying, like, I was a big pothead, so I've got Bob Marley tattooed on my arm. But it was a saying that Bob Marley had said, it's judge not unless you judge yourself.
Yeah.
But I also judge myself heavily. I reassess things, and I'm like, am I doing this right? Did I have that conversation right? Could I have done things different? But I also go, I'm so focused on judging myself and improving that I don't have time to bag anyone else. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, that's mad.
And they say that talking about other people is like the lowest form of intelligence. And I stand on that.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I saw a post yesterday talking about that, bro. I was talking about how it's such a low vibration to be gossiping.
Yeah.
And I actually feel it nowadays too. If someone else comes up in conversation and it's a big judgment of, someone else, if it comes from someone else, I don't want to hear it. And if it comes from me now, I'm really feeling gross.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying someone's a piece of shit. Look at that fucking loser.
It's easy to get caught up in it though. Like, especially when you're around and it's someone you know or whatever, it's so easy to get caught up. And I don't judge people that do. I'm like, just don't always be that person. Don't always have that vibe.
Yeah.
And you work that out pretty soon. When you know someone, you're like, you're always like that.
I can't help, bro. My favorite thing to say is, bro, did you hear what happened to blah, blah, blah?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I love it. I said it to my mate like a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. And he goes to me, he goes, are you fucking serious? The most common saying we have is, did you hear what happened to Doxie? Like, that's the most common saying.
Yeah, 100%.
I said, fuck, I deserve that, you know?
Oh, and we all do it. It's like just rolls off the tongue at times. But
Yeah.
I always try and I catch myself before I finish the sentence. I'm like, but he probably did it because of this, and this. I justify it for him.
It's good to see, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
We all do it. I mean, fuck. The biggest thing with the project is I just want to be real and raw as possible. I've fucked up many a times and I'll continue to fuck up at times, but I'll hold myself to account with it.
Yeah.
And I think just showing, like, I didn't want to post that reel today because I was like, fuck, I'm like trying to articulate my sentences. I'm looking away for the camera, this, that. But I was like, nah. And I spoke to my content guy that made it and I was like, nah, just post it. That's me, eh? Like, I just want to be me.
Good work, bro. It's a hard thing, realistically. I don't want to go too much on the topic of content creation because it's a world we'll get lost in, bro.
Know,
but
man.
just
Absolutely.
putting yourself on camera, it's a skill to learn, but you just get more and more familiar with yourself the more you do it. You know? The biggest problem I think that people have in the beginning, which I found to be true, was I was meeting myself. I was met a stranger and I had an expectation of who I was. So when I seen that person that I recorded, I was like subconsciously like, that's not who I thought I was, you know what I mean? But eventually you know yourself and then you just become better at performing, you get better at it, you know? It's like meeting a stranger for the first time. But I wanted to say, going and doing these things that are coming up, like with the footy games and all this stuff that are being put on lately in Shell, where'd you say it was called? Shoal Bay.
Yeah, it's up Port State, Nelson's Bay area.
That's it, yeah. One thing I really want to do in the future, which I'll probably speak to you as time goes on about it, is I found myself to be very, very lucky that I actually found interest in my career. Like I got a trade in refrigeration, air conditioning, and since then I just want to keep getting more and more certificates. And like, I love it. I just fell in love with it by accident. But I found that it was probably the biggest thing to keep me from going down the paths in which I was dabbling my feet in. And I'd love one day to be able to give back to the trade in a way, or just the younger kids who are going through a similar thing to me at like 14, 15, 16, and kind of let them know if you just dedicate yourself to one thing, you'll be sweet. You know, and there was definitely times where I lost my job. I had bosses tell me, bro, you need to go get sober, come back in a year, just fucking sort yourself out. But because I fucking tried really fucking hard, and it was easy, I knew pretty quickly, the more I learn, the more I learn. And then I can buy more materialistic shit, you know?
The more you put in is the more that you get. And that's the biggest thing. It's
and I knew that straight away, dude. I knew like, all right, I've never given a fuck about school. I didn't fucking like it. I never did any work, but I got the TAFE and it was like, oh, how much money can I make, bro? And I just locked the fuck in. And I was very fortunate that I always had that. If I didn't have that and I was kind of just jumping around between jobs, I would have had one less thing to keep me on a good straight and narrow path, you know? So it's definitely something I want to get involved in the future. Just being able to speak to kids that might be fucking doing the wrong thing and be like, yo, you can fucking focus if you want, bro, you know? Because I consider myself to be pretty relatable, you know? Like I fucking, bro, I still want to fucking get up to mischief, bro, but I try my best not to, you know?
I'm the same. I don't ever want to lose that either. I always want to be a bit boisterous and like get down and play with my kids and just be a goose. I love that. That's me. That's my ADHD, and that's I don't ever want to change that. But I just know the limits now. But with the schools and stuff, like fuck, I left in year 7, and that was a long time, and I was like, fuck, I don't know if I could do another 6 years. So, and now they're sort of my year was the last year that they were like, people can leave in year 10. And then they were like, mandate, you have to leave with a job or something like that. I don't know, can you still leave in year 10?
I didn't finish year 10, but so I didn't get a high school certificate. That's what you're meant to have now in order to leave school. And I don't think you are allowed to leave school without one. I don't think you're allowed to. But I don't think there's any kind of system like there is like say you go to a shooting range and you shoot the guns and I got in trouble one time. I might put this in the podcast. But I got caught later because they went and checked all the paperwork. I don't think they have anything like that for dropping out of school. I don't think there's anything like that. I'd love to, bro. I speak to a couple of people about it, and it's like it's just something that's in my calling to do one day in the future, because that feeling of wanting to help younger, unprivileged, misfortunate kids that you can kind of empathize with because you know what it's like to be on.
Yeah.
I fucking have it, bro. I've always had it, you know.
And we need more of it, like especially in the youth work sector. There's like a bit of a shortage of males, and they're just like sometimes people get in the industry and they just look at them as little shits, or they struggle just with their own kids, let alone someone else's kid. It's a heavily female dominated industry, and that's a good thing because I mean usually females are motherly, but for kids that are in the system very early at a young age, you need a sort of father figure. Although we're not allowed to call ourselves that, just someone that shows you shit, how to ride a skateboard, how to handle shit, how to use a wrench and a screwdriver and a drill and this, that, things that, dads do.
Yeah.
So
I think just being a fucking positive role model, bro. The biggest thing I've been thinking of in the last 2 weeks is the fact that I don't really think constructive criticism works. I don't think you can belittle or demean, I think that's the word, demean anyone and have them improve. I think the only way to get people better is by one, positive reinforcement. At least fucking if you're going to give someone a backhand, pat them on the back on the way past. You know?
Compliment sandwich.
Yeah. Although I think the other way to be able to help someone, and the saying is you can't help anyone that doesn't want to help themselves. I don't like it. I didn't believe it. I believe other people believe it. But I didn't like it, so I refused to accept it. However, I think you can help someone that doesn't want to help themselves by being a role model, by showing a different way of living, by working on yourself, by going to the gym, by trying hard, by doing all these things, by making content, by being out there. I think that's how you help people that don't want to help themselves. You inspire people. And
that's how I look at AOD recovery as well. I'm like, sweet, if you're not ready and you're not at a place, cool, I'm not going to help, but I'm here when you're ready. You can find the phone, you can call me, or even in the rehab, I'm not going to put much energy into you because I'm going to tell you you're not there. And if you're not there, we're not going to make any headway. So go and have a think what you want to do and what you want to get out of your time here. A little bit of a hard-ass tactic, but I always follow it up with, when you're ready, I'm here. And I did have boys turn around and come and like, oh, fuck, I'm sorry, like I swore at you and this and that. And I'm like, it's all good. Like, fucking my kids do it all the time. It's all good. But yeah, like I'm here. So you're ready to talk. So I know that you've had a conversation with yourself in your head and you go, fuck, maybe I need to own up to some of my shit. Sweet, you're vulnerable. Come here, sit down. I'm going to get you here. And then just build that rapport. But that initial sort of tough love, it's like, you're not ready. I'm not putting any energy into you right now. Sorry.
That's fucking perfect, bro. That's such a good message, bro, because I hate authority, bro, so I can imagine other people being told they have to do shit. It wouldn't work.
I'm not going to tell you anything that you don't want to do. If you want to do something, sweet, and you're all ears, but if you don't want me to tell you what to do, or not what to do, but if you're not ready to reach out for help, then I'm not going to be any help to you. So
that's fuck, bro. This has been fucking such a hectic conversation. I cannot wait to see everything that's getting built from what you're doing. You've already done so much, bro. You've spent since 19, wanting to help other people.
12, 13 years,
That's fucking crazy, bro. You've been such a net positive, and I think content, bro, is a great thing for anyone to get into because it opens up so many doors. You know what I mean?
And it just that vulnerability, it just exposes that vulnerability and fuck, Instagram's such a highlight reel, and I share a lot of my highs and lows, and I make an effort to do that. I don't want my thing to be fucking all shiny and this and that because that's not my life, and I hate that. I hate seeing someone's Instagram and it's fucking trip to Dubai here, this, that, and just all roses and peaches. I'm like, fuck, that's not real. I'm like, I don't like. It's not that I don't like the person. I'm like, I don't like your values because you're not really showing what goes on in your life. And you're trying to portray an image. Not that people have bad things in their life, but it just seems to be a common theme in our sort of generation. And the narrative is definitely changing. But that common theme, it's like, not everyone can be this happy, right? This can't be real. And
it sends people on a spiral, to be honest. If people aren't feeling good and all they see is people living their best lives, makes them feel isolated, you know?
The brain, and you know in yourself, you're like that. But at that time, if you're in a low point, your brain will play the trick on you. And if you're not up to the mental fortitude at that time, you've got Buckley's chance. So
well, I think what you're doing is good, bro. As I said, I can't wait to see more of it. But I'm gonna have to ask you the final question of the podcast. All right,
hit me with it.
It's the same question that I've asked every single guest so far. This is episode 139, so there's been a few answers so far. But there's no right or wrong. It's just from your perspective. If someone came to you because they were feeling depressed, mostly because they were just lost, is there any advice you would give that person?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm like, I sort of would say to them, like, pretty much a lot of people have gone through what you're going through at this time. I would definitely empathise with them around how they're feeling and get to know why they're depressed. And I'm like, if I can relate to that and share a story, 100%. Or even with all of my sort of connections, if I can find someone that's sort of really good, and Mikko's someone that's a really good example of that, someone that's gone through something that's pretty life-changing, then getting them together. For me, the biggest thing is I always like to put myself in a scenario with someone that has a worse scenario, and I'm like, that mine's not that bad. And it makes me, and you'd hope that there's someone that has a bad scenario, that they have someone that's like, oh, my scenario's not that bad. And there's a thing that Mick says, and I've sort of owned it a little bit, is a problem halved is a problem shared is a problem halved. And that's massive. So just having that conversation, I would just pat them on the back for just being able to say, like, I'm really not in a good place. I'm like, I'd almost pat them on the back and be like, you've done the first thing you need to do, because there's so many people that just suffer in silence. So I would just be like, congratulations, you are already on the way to getting help and getting back to your happy self, or working out your direction in life, because a lot of people don't get that far. A lot of people suffer in silence and plot through and don't have the, I guess, willpower to have those vulnerable and hard conversations. So yeah, and then I just offer my empathy and really try and simplify things for them, because when you we complicate so much in the human race and life these days. When you strip it right back, it's like dogs, right? Dogs are never unhappy. Yeah. They sleep all day, they play, have a mad feed, get a tickle. So simple. They wake up and they're like, I'm going to get a feed today, I'm going to kick back. Like, so simple. But we're like, fuck, I got to go pick the kid up, got this on, work, I've got this at work, friends party, so much. Yeah. But if you just strip it back, if you're having a hard time, strip it back to the bare essentials. Okay, I'm going to see the sunrise. I know cold water therapy is really good. I'm going to do 3 minutes of cold shower in the morning to wake myself up. I'm going to have eggs and steak and a nutritious breakfast with fruit. Strip it back as much as possible. And I know it's hard at the time to see that, but if you just, instead of looking at the top of the staircase, if you're looking at the first 2 steps, you just need a step. And before you know it, you're at the top of the staircase going, wow, I just stripped it back. And that's the biggest thing with mental health, is just strip it right back. And you will get to a place. It's different for everyone how long it takes. But in that time, when you're stripping it back and you're trying to just focus on the simple things, you might actually find yourself as well. And because you're not trying to cloud as much, once you get halfway up that staircase and things get a little bit easier, you're like, or maybe, and mental health's a good one. I push people to work in mental health all the time. I'm like, you'll love it. There's nothing better than giving back to someone, especially when you experience it yourself. And we have such an abundance of, it's an epidemic of mental health at the moment that we're never going to have enough workers. So I push people. I'm like, whoever helped you, take what the tools of the tool belt that you built while you were working with that person and offer it to someone else and further your knowledge and keep going with it. And until we are at a point where you're always going to have lows, but mental health's so normal that everyone knows how to get around it and how to sort of, when life does life things, you can go back to the bare essentials and really navigate your way through and come out the other side and better for it every time.
I love that analogy of the staircase, bro. Like, that was fucking so sick, especially when it came, and you said now offering your service as a mentor as well, because it's like, if you make it to the halfway point, you've gone up the stairs one by one, and you look back down, you see how far you've come.
It's as far to go down the stairs as it is to go to the top.
Yeah. And now you're halfway, and you can help someone else come up. You can be like, hey, dude, step 1, step 2, step 3, and then they can come up with you, bro.
Yeah,
you know?
It's like wave. Like, I'm only halfway. I'm still going, but didn't take as hard. It wasn't as hard as you think to get here, and I'm keen to get to the top now. Like, come with us. And if I need to wait here, whatever, I'll wait here. Let's do it. I'll coach you through it.
That's sick. Fuck, bro. This has been such a hectic conversation. I tell you, I did not know where it was going to go. I was completely open to the idea of it.
It was last minute. Lapo was like, you got to meet this bloke. And we were watching your podcast. I was like, get me on. Come talk to him.
Fuck yeah.
It's been good. Hell environment. You've done well here. It's fucking sick.
Nah, I appreciate it, bro. I can't wait to hear everything that's going to come from it. And I like to have people come back on again in the future.
For sure.
I definitely want to hear what's happening in some time from now.
Let's do it in 12 months' time and shit's off and running and Lapo's working for me. We're working together. We're changing people's lives.
So. Madness. Bro, I couldn't thank you enough. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Legend. For everyone listening, almost forgot. Thank you for making it to the end of the episode. It was an amazing week this week. As you've seen, there'll be another one next week, as I promised. That's a wrap.
Beautiful.
Bang, bro. Yeah, of course.